Very good afternoon to one and all present over here. This is the second session of today's series of lectures, and I would like to take the pride in to introduce my sir, come today's resource person, our very own Dr. Krishnendu Acharya. It is my immense pleasure and good fortune that I happen to be his direct student. After that, I had the rare opportunity to work under him for very few days in his laboratory. We have got a very long association. He has been the instrumental inspiration for my research work and research career. What little bit I have achieved today. Without much ado, let me introduce you. You all know him very well, but he has got an illustrious research career, which definitely to be taken care of. Dr. Krishnendu Acharya is basically a botanist, and he has completed his MTech in biotechnology and PhD from Jadavpur University. At present, he is enjoying his professorship at the Department of Botany, University of Calcutta. He has got a wide array of research interests in innate immunity in plants, macrofungal diversity of medicinal properties, and myco nanotechnology. He has already 25 students have been awarded PhD under his supervision, and again eight registered already. He has got an illustrious research experience of long 27 years, and what is more astounding in today's world, he has got already published 530 research papers of all national and international reputed journals, 12 books, and already 4 patents, for which 2 have been already applied. He has gotten monumental Scopus citations of 1300, 476, Scopus high indexed of 60, I10 indexed of 251, total Google Scholar citations phenomenal 18,919, H index 67, I10 index 315. He has got several recognitions under his credibility. He has enlisted among the Stanford University list of world top 2,200% scientists from 2020 till date. He has been enlisted at the best plant scientist and agronomy scientist list published by the research.com for the year 2023-24. Scientist of the Year 2019, Fellow of West Bengal Academy of Science and Technology, Fellow of Linnean Society of London. He had been the Fellow of Indian Mycological Society, Fellow of International College of Nutrition, Canada, Fellow of Mycological Society of India. Sir Edwin John Butler Memorial Award have been endowed on him. Patel Memorial Award has been received by him. Global Achievement Award for the field of Phylosphere Biology and Professor K. Natarajan Memorial Award have been bestowed on him. He has also participated as a resource person for different national and international seminars and refresher courses. Beyond his academic roles and various administrative responsibilities, Professor Acharya is actively promoting self-sustainability through entrepreneurship. His low-cost organic cultivation technology has already been a boom in the field of technology development and has directly benefited 2,500 farmers all along West Bengal, further demonstrating his commitment of improving lives through sustainable practices. But this is just a tip of the iceberg, and today's, you all know, he's a fantastic orator, and through his lecture, it is not only an learning phenomenon, but it will be a philosophy that he will be definitely establishing, just like his before lectures. So I'm deeply endowed and deeply indebted, and I'm thankful that I got the rare opportunity to introduce Professor Krishnendu Acharya in front of this august crowd. Sir, the mic is yours now. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you very much. My slides are visible right now.
Yes, sir. It's coming. Yeah, it's
Yes,
visible.
it's visible. Okay,
You can start, sir.
just 1 minute. Okay, now slides are moving.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Moving.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
now
sir.
it's
Yes, sir.
moving.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect. So, very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I am thankful to the coordinators for this RC program for giving me the opportunity to share my journey in front of friend, philosopher, and guide of thousands of young minds which you nurture every day. I'm also thankful to all the participants because you are going to give me a gift that is your most valuable part of your life, that is time, 1.5 hour to me. I'll try my level best to make justice on that. Okay. uh, when they asked me to deliver a talk in this RC meeting, and it's a cosmopolitan means area that you are now here in this RC courses, means starting from biological science to engineering science, then I asked myself what to say. So basically, right now, post COVID, we the teacher facing a big problem. That problem when we enter into our class, if our student ask us, sir, I'm going to be graduate, I'm going to be a master's, I'm going to be a PhD, or I am going to be a BTech or MTech, after that, sir, iske baad kya? So what I'll do after my graduation, what I'll do after my this thing, because you know that global economy is going down, recession is a very common term right now. Okay. And standing in this scenario, as a teacher, we face lots of problems. Okay. So, like that, also, I have tried to change the direction of my teaching towards the translation one. And thereby, I made more than, right now, more than 4,000 people to become entrepreneur. And I will tell you that journey, what I have made during this period. My work basically focusing on agriculture. There will be no culture without agriculture. So we have three primary needs: roti, kapda, and makan. Without kapda and without makan, we can survive for years. But without roti, how many days we survive? If I ask you, this is a post-lunch session. So if I ask you this question, that did you have taken your lunch? Everybody will tell, yes, we have taken our lunch, right? But really, you have taken your lunch. You just see, during morning we visit market, we purchase some poison from the market, bring it to our home, and makes delicious dishes for ourselves and our most beloved one. That's the scenario. And actually, we introduce this inorganic way of cultivation in the name of food security. So food security have three pillars. Right now, did we really maintaining all these pillars? You will see, no, we are not maintaining a single pillar for in the name of food security what we have introduced during the Green Revolution. Does our foods are safe? Obviously not. Is it accessible to everybody? Truly not. And did we empower people to make their own choice about their food they eat? Absolutely not. So, standing in this particular scenario, people are looking for certain good food. But before entering into that, we introduced food security. We introduced green revolution in the name of food security. And for food security, we so-called scientists discover hybrid plants. Hybrid plants need high energy for their growth and development. So again, we so-called scientists, we discover chemical fertilizers. So chemical fertilizers gives the vigor growth of the plants, increase the water content in the plant cells, thereby invites the pathogen to sit over it and cause disease in the plants. Again, it's a duty of scientists develop toxic compound to kill the pathogen. And as you know, the pathogens are much more than intelligent than that of us. They develop resistance against toxic compound. We develop more toxic compound to cope up. Again, they develop resistance, so more toxic, and more toxic. Ultimately, we destroy our soil. Our soil is dying. Those who are in the village area, you also understand the meaning of this soil is dying. Okay? Not only soil is dying, the components present in the soil also dying. Also, we uh, actually destroyed our environment, starting from air to water to air. We introduced so many killer diseases within us: angina pectoris, diabetes mellitus, neoplasia, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, so many elite diseases. Okay, nowadays prevailed in the society. We the culprit responsible for global warming. We the culprit responsible for increase of carbon footprint. And standing in this particular scenario, people are crying for go for organic, go for organic, and go for organic. Who will do all these things? The poorest among the poor, our farmer. Go to first world country, you will see the farmers, those who are farmers, they have luxury life. And see the farmers of this country who feed every day 150 crores of people, and try to understand their situation. And standing in this particular scenario, we are asking them go for organic and go for organic. So for the organic conversion from inorganic way of cultivation to organic one, we always say go for you just supplement your soil certain compost, but that compost will not work. If you amend your soil only with compost, that will not work, because that compost has to be liquidify and has to be break down to small component. Thereby the plants will absorb all these nutrients through its root system. Who are the actually engineer for this degradation? The bacteria. Do you think that bacteria which was present before inorganic way of cultivation, right now they are? I hope they are not there. So again, beside compost amendment, you need to add different types of bacteria, beneficial fungi. You have to supplement the soil. Thereby you can enrich the soil and you can make your sterile land gradually into the fertile one. Thereby you can produce the crops. Again, for that reason, you need lots of bacteria. If the farmers ask you, yes, I want to produce this bacteria in my lab, you will in my home, you will say, you are merely a farmer, how can you produce all these things? You have to purchase these things from the market. That's very good. So from market, they will go for purchasing this bacteria. As a simple human being, you just think, if you keep yourself in a dark room for 5 days, after that, if I release you in the open sunlight, can you see it properly? You are making bacteria in the laboratory, in the industry. Then you are making a powder formulation by using certain inert material like charcoal, like talcum, like peat, and you are keeping that bacteria within that inert material for 6 months. You are giving that lifespan of this bacteria. You just see any packet, they are written there 6 months. Okay, use before 6 months. And after you keep bacteria in a stressful condition, and you are going to release that bacteria into the soil and asking this bacteria go and fight. Can it be possible? So here is scientific intervention is needed appropriately. So I have so today my talk is on biotechnology based rural organic agricultural agri entrepreneurship model, a successful endeavor. This is basically a journey from lab to lab. I have devised a model for the farmers. So for organic conversion from inorganic way cultivation to organic way of cultivation, we need three distinct hands. One hand will go for soil fertility and quality management system. where you need different types of compost. Farmers are habituated with making compost in their own house, but we made certain amendment in that compost. Mostly they use the cow dung, cow urine for making compost, or certain cases they use certain leafy vegetables or leafy greens in the compost. But to enrich that compost, you try to tell them that add certain banana stem bases rich in potash, also wood ash that is also rich in potash and micronutrient. Also amend that compost with egg cell, which will amend that compost with calcium. So thereby you can increase the quality of the compost. And another, just supplementation of compost is not enough to improve the soil quality. You need different types of bacteria. If you have pen and notebook, please note this thing, that you need different types of bacteria, like nitrogen fixing bacteria, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, zinc solubilizing bacteria, potash solubilizing bacteria, and many plant growth promoting rhizobacteria like Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus lichenophobis, Bacillus valenciensis, Bacillus megaterium, Bacillus amyloidocoefficiens. So these are the real bacteria you need for, or some any many more PGPRs are there. You need to supplement along with the compost. Thereby, you can improve the quality of the soil. So after soil is prepared well, then you plant. You just put the seedling or sow the seeds over the soil to grow the plants. When plants grow, they need certain growth promoters or growths like this. Uh, they need some growth promoters and uh, foliar nutrient. So like vermiwash is there, amino acid is there, humic acid is there. So as I said, all the bacteria like nitrogen fixing bacteria, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, zinc solubilizing bacteria, all are available in the market. You just take a note on that. All these bacteria available in the market, kept in the talc or in the charcoal bale, and the price is ranges from 300 rupees to 600 rupees. You also note that point. 300 rupees to 600 rupees. And quality, those who are biologists, please check the quality of this bacteria. If you have any chance in your laboratory, then you just check it, because these things they are going to give to the farmer who feed us every day. They are not farmer, they are actually Bhagwan for us. Actually, right now I am speaking because my belly is full. You are listening my talk because your belly is full. Those who are feeding every day, they are means they traveling with empty belly. Okay, that's the situation. So this is 300 to 600 rupees per kilo. And these vitamins, so called, they call these as vitamin, humic acid, amino acid, vermiwar, now available in the market at a price of 900 rupees to 2000 rupees per liter. Okay, vermiwas around 9,000 rupees, humic acid around 1,200 rupees per liter, amino acid is around 3,000 2,000 rupees per liter. So this is available in the market in a in sealed bottle. And also they need another one important sector is the pest management sector. In pest management sector, we have divided into two parts. One is disease prevention technology, another one is disease protection technology. Prevent the disease rather than cure at the end stage. Thereby you can protect your plant to some extent with the pathogenic infection. And also you can eliminate the disease by using certain biocontrol agent. So you need different types of bacterial and fungal biocontrol agent. For controlling of fungi, you need trichoderma species. So trichoderma viridi, trichoderma herginium, trichoderma aspergillum. For management of bacteria and fungi, you need Pseudomonas. For management of insect, you need BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, Beauveria bassiana, Verticillium lacani, and Metarhizium. For management of nematode, you need another fungus, Bacillomyces lineaceae. So all this requirement is needed to convert your land to inorganic way to organic one. And all these fungi, what I said, that also available in the market, and price ranges from again 300 to 600 rupees. Please note this point. Clear? So as I said, that these fungi are available. If that farmer asks you, sir, can I make a laboratory for producing this fungi in my house? You will tell, why not? But you need a very big laboratory. You need 3-4 fermenters, which cost around 30 lakhs. You need an incubator, which cost around, the Indian made is 1.5 lakhs. You need one autoclave, Indian made is 1.5 lakhs. You need some other small instrument to run your laboratory, and you need one trained personnel to run your laboratory, and you need around 45 lakhs to start your laboratory. So what farmer will tell? Take my land and you produce something, I'll be the happiest one. Okay. So again, standing in this particular scenario, I have changed the things at the farmers level, and this single technology I have developed for the farmers, and this technology actually is justify out of 79 sustainable development goal. Okay. So that single technology can cover 9 sustainable development goal out of total 70. So and this technology I have transferred. Actually, I develop a technology where my farmers are able to produce 17 different types of bacteria and fungi by themselves. At a cost of, they are producing bacteria at a cost of 10 rupees per kilo. Please note down this thing. In the market, you will get any bacteria I just named at a price of 300 to 600 rupees per kg. But I have given a technology to my farmer that my farmers are able to produce live bacteria by themselves at a price of 10 rupees per kg. And also they are able to produce 7 different types of fungi: Trichoderma viridi, Trichoderma harginium, Trichoderma asperillum, Verticillium lacani, Metarhizium, Bacillomyces liracina, and Beauveria bassiana. These 7 fungi they are able to produce in their house, which is available in the market at a price of 300 to 600 rupees per kilo, and they are able to produce all these things by themselves at a price of 2 rupees per kilo. Okay. And I have translated this knowledge to right now I am running actually 32 units in West Bengal, and another 2 in outside West Bengal, one in Rajasthan, another one is Ahmedabad, and total more around 4,000 people now become self-sustainable through this technology, and they are producing all sorts of product by themselves, starting from land preparation to harvest. Whatever they need for their cultivation, they are able to produce by themselves, and price is total price of cultivation goes down to 7 एक cup चाय का दाम per day per biga, 7 rupees per day per biga for cultivation of this one. Okay. So that I have tried to translate to the farmers level. So before translation, this thing I have developed some instrument for the farmers. So in normally for mass propagation of bacteria, you need a sophisticated biofermenter, that is biomass production unit. That's cost around 8 to 10 lakhs rupees, that fermenter. And I have designed a fermenter for my farmers that is only 10,000 rupees. So again, 30 lakhs goes down to 10,000 rupees. Okay. And this is my fermentating vessel. Anybody can open the vessel. No need of any degree. Then we supply the tablet for different organism. Cut the tablet, put the material within this vessel. Then pour water to the mark point. Shake well. Then then after that you go for sterilize it. For sterilization, you need a machine called as autoclave. Again, it comes around 1,50,000. Again, I cuttle down that 1,50,000 to 3,200 rupees only. This is my autoclave. Pressure cooker, big pressure cooker, fast city, wait for 20 minutes, then your material will be sterilized. And after sterilization, they need the mother culture. Actually, we supply the mother culture to the farmer from our lab. So that mother culture has to be inoculated in this particular vessel. For that reason, we need another instrument called as laminar hood. Again, that laminar hood cost around more than 1.5 lakhs. I made one laminar hood like structure for them. That is comes around 100 rupees. Okay, so this is my laminar structure. You just take a dispo van. I made the needle little bit longer. This is the mother culture we supply from the lab. Just sterilize this thing, draw the liquid within the syringe and inject it. Then after that, you put that vessel in your this fermenter. After 72 hours, you will get 10 to the power 14 bacterial cells per ml. Okay. So after production of this thing, you just put it in your spraying vessel and spray in the field. Now you tell me it will work or not. Okay. And although I have 4 patents, but here whatever you have seen, the instrument I designed for the patent farmer, I have not patented that thing, because I made this instrument for the Bhagwan who feed us every day. Okay. So for Bhagwan, whatever I have made, I have not patented this thing. Anybody can make this instrument for their own purpose. I have no objection on that. Okay. So after all these things, you need certain growth promoters. So through this instrument, you can make bacteria like nitrogen fixing bacteria, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, zinc solubilizing bacteria, potash solubilizing bacteria, then Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus lichenoformis, Bacillus valigensis, Bacillus megatherium, Bacillus amyloicofaciens, then Bacillus thuringiensis, and Pseudomonas fluorescens. They are making all the bacteria. I have zone-specific bacterial community in my lab. Okay, I have more than 500 different type of bacteria and fungi. I am harboring in my lab, starting from hilly region to coastal region of West Bengal. Okay. So beside this bacteria, that is second part is after improvement of amendment of the soil with the bacteria, you need some growth promoters. So growth promoters, as I said, that Bharmi was nowadays available in the market, and you just see the parameters in this Bharmi was. It contained carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, also contain many important micronutrients, also contain a large number of bacteria and fungi, which is beneficial microbes for the soil. This is available in the market, and the price is 900 rupees per liter. You can Google it. Whatever I am telling, you just Google it, and you can see the price of all this product. But I made a very simple technology. One time investment, lifetime you will get the Bharmi wash. What you will do, you just make a layer of gravels. You just take 200 liter drum, make a layer of gravels here. After that, you put soil and compost. Then you use semi-digested cow dung or semi-fermented cow dung, then earthworms, then cow dung, then compost. Every morning and evening, you just sprinkle certain water over it. After 15 days, you will see the water coming out through this hole will be little straw color. Then gradually it's become darkened in color, and this is the Bharmi wash. And spray your plant with 10 ml Bharmi wash per liter. Then you just see the miracles happens in your field. Okay. So this is Bharmi wash. also available in the market, which comes around 900 rupees per liter. You just think about the cost of this. It's a one-time investment, lifetime you will get the vermi wash free of cost. Then another important material now available in the market in the name of amino acid. So for amino acids, they have several beneficial effects on plant. If you apply amino acid in foliar application, through foliar application, like they improve the protein biosynthesis, resistant to abiotic stress, photosynthesis. Those who are interested, you can take snapshot of my slide. I have no problem. You can take snapshot of my slide. Okay, photosynthesis, stomata activity, chelation, phytohormones, pollination and fruit formation. Also, it increases the soil microbial efficacy for the better growth of the plants. So, for this is available in the market, and the price is 2,000 rupees per liter. But I have given a technology. You can use simple any fish and small piece or whatever piece that is low cost fish. You just take 1 kg of any low cost fish. Those who are not interested to use fish, in spite of fish, you can use the soybean seed. Okay, you can use soybean seeds or you can use fish, and 1 kg of black strip molasses, that black color molasses. Okay, that is 1 kg. Take take a chocolate jar, take one jar, plastic jar, put the whole material within the jar, cover the lid of the jar with the mosquito net to get rid of insects, okay, fly and insects. So thereby you can maintain the good quality of your product. Then after that you need to ferment it. For fermentation, as a scientist, we always know that you need to incubate the material in an appropriate temperature. And that appropriate temperature, for the appropriate temperature, we need a machine called as incubator. Again, the cost of incubator is 1.5 lakhs only for the Indian product. Okay, so again, from where my poor farmer will get this 1.5 lakhs? So again, I converted this 1.5 lakhs to 0 rupees. I made one incubator. If you just see today's weather, in the morning time you get little bit cooler weather. Right now it's a little bit high temperature and humid, and in the evening time again it is a little bit cooler. If you think about the temperature of the soil, it's a ambient temperature plus minus 2 degree. Okay, soil maintain its temperature more or less the ambient temperature, and it varies plus minus 2 degree. So what I did, so I dig the soil and put the bottle within the soil, and this is my free of cost incubator. Every day morning, you just stir it for aeration, and then again you would wrap it with the this nylon net, mosquito net, and after 15 days you will see not you will not get any bad smell of this amino means this product. All bad smell removed. Actually you will get a sweet smell. After 45 days that will be mature, and you will get a black color. This is the product. I can show you. This is the product made by my farmer. You can see the color of the product. Can you see it? Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
This is the color. You can make it easily. And those who are listening my talk, please convey this message to the Bhagwan. Actually, please convey this message to the Bhagwan. It's an earnest request for all of you, because we looking for our salary every month. Because why, थोड़ा अच्छा से रहेंगे, ठीक रहेंगे, खाना रहने के लिए अच्छा कुछ मिल जाएगा, तो that's fine for us. Those who are serving us, our Bhagwan, right now you just think in a standard room we are sitting and talking, and you are listening my talk. My Bhagwan right now working in the field to feed us. They don't have a good house to stay. They don't have a good cloth to wear. How many days these Bhagwan will feed us? If you visit any village area, you will get some old people are working for us. After 10, 20 years, these people will be vanished. No young generations are interested to come into the agriculture. After 10, 20 years, who will feed us? We have to think. We don't need car, we don't need house, we don't need anything. We need food first. But who will feed us and who will feed our future generation? Okay, there will be no culture, means no civilization without agriculture. That's the primary important need, primary need actually for our survival first. Then you can think, you can study, you can do anything what you want to do. So we have to think this damage what is going on in the field of agriculture. We have to recover that thing as a mentor of the society, as a creator of the society. It's my earnest request to all my young minds and friends, please think differently. Okay, clear? So the and after 45 days, you just filter it through a cloth and you keep it in the bottle, and you just give 5 ml per liter spray every 15 days interval. You just see plants will speak with you. It's assurance. Okay. uh, then you need to go for disease prevention. So we made one new strategy. In spite of pathogen, we made certain small molecules from biological molecules. That is actually from the cells of crabs, from prawn, and from the mushroom, that contain a molecule called as chitin. Okay, chitin breakdowns to chitosan. If you spray chitosan over the surface of the plant, then plants will think that pathogen is there. So we mimic the pathogen like activity by using chitosan. Then that time that plant will develop defense against it, that boost the immunity of the plants, and thereby they can protect themselves. Okay, that is called the improvement of innate immunity by the spraying of this biological material over the surface of this thing. This was published in Nature Scientific Reports, and it's one of my highest cited papers. And after that, Nature India make a actually news on that, and it has actually predicted that it has significant application in the agricultural side. After that, Rajya Sabha TV came to my laboratory and make a documentary on that. So this is the product we have developed for the farmers. But for farmers, I have given a very simple technology. When you are making compost, okay, tell them to amend the compost with per ton of compost need only 1 kg of this crab shell or prawn shell or the dried fruit bodies of mushroom. That is wood. If you visit in your local area, you will see that in wood the big mushrooms are there, macrofungus. So that can be used in the compost. In compost, so many chitinol active bacteria and fungi are there. They actually digest this chitin to chitosan. So once they apply this compost to the root of any plant, that will develop the induced systemic resistance. They sit over the root and give signal to the plant. If you find any pathogen, boost your immunity. Thereby you can protect yourself from the pathogen, like vaccination. Okay. So that strategy I have given to the farmer. For commercial, you can produce this thing in the for marketable one. Now, disease protection, as I said, you need different types of fungi. Beauveria bassiana, they can control so many fungi. Then Verticillium lacani, they can control the white fly to mites. This is Metarhizium that can control maggots. This is the Pseudomyces that can control the nematodes. And also for fungi, Trichoderma viridi, Trichoderma harginium, Trichoderma aspergillum for controlling fungi. And besides this, I have more than 100 different types of botanical formulation through which you can protect your crop from all sorts of diseases. So this is our philosophy. Organic agriculture is our philosophy. Then it's greater than that of science. Organic agriculture is a philosophy, and it has to be a holistic approach. Organic, if you want to convert your land into organic one, it's a holistic approach. You try to cover all these things. If you feed your baby only the protein, it will not work. If you feed your baby only carbohydrate, it will not work. If you feed your baby with the fat, it will not work. You need all the combination of things for the healthy growth of your baby. Like this, if you want to maintain the health of your land and health of your plant, it's a holistic approach. So in most cases, you will see most of the scientists delivering lecture in the organic agriculture. They are showing only one, two, side, three corners of the organic agriculture. Thereby, the real scientists, our farmer, they are misguided by this talk. So when you tell about organic agriculture, you always follow the three pillars of this organic agriculture: health of the soil, health of the plant, and the maintenance of the disease of the plant. These three pillars is important. If you maintain three pillars organically, then you can convert your land into inorganic to organic one. Okay, I hope it's clear to all of you. So, and next one is the marketing strategy. Also, I changed the marketing strategy. Nowadays, if you visit any market, suppose today potato market, it comes around 25 rupees to 35 rupees per kg. The farmers sell all these things to the at a price of around 3.5 to 4 rupees per kilo or 5 rupees per kilo. Okay. So a farmer who planted a little seed, make a plant, wait for 90 days to 120 days to get their harvest. Okay. Taking all sorts of risks, they are getting a little part of the total price. So again, I changed this thing. Lab to land, land to consumer. Now my farmers are become suited booted. They actually purchase car. Every day morning, they put their harvest in their small car and reach to the housing complex. Within 2 to 3 hours, they sell all this product at the market price and earn lump sum money and come back to their home. Okay, that also I have changed their marketing strategy. Okay. So once I develop this hypothesis, generally we the scientists develop hypothesis and work in laboratory in a very small scale structure, either in pot or in something like that. Then we tell farmers, अरे मैंने कर लिया आप भी कर लो. वो नहीं होता है. Land and laboratory, hell and heaven different. So I tested my hypothesis, because when I am going to give this thing to the Bhagwan, so I have no interest to cheat my Bhagwan. So I tested all these things by myself first, starting from rice to tea. So you can see the change of the growth of the tea plantlet after 1.5 months. Just see. Okay. Everybody telling that organic reduce the production. I am giving you one challenge. You just give me any land. After 1 year, you will see 1.3 times higher productivity in organic, because I have taken the holistic approach for organic conversion. I am amending my soil through all these material and at in situ condition. I am preparing at that place. I am releasing all these things at that place, and the material whatever I am using, that is the local material. So now it is working. Okay. So this is rice plant. I have my father also don't believe that my science will work in the field. He has given me a very small land where I use this compost along with my bacteria. I'm working in the field. This is the conventional way of rice cultivation. I have used SRI technology. Just see during the mature growth, see the roots of the conventional, and this is the roots of my technology. It's a thick white color root, and in case of conventional thin brown color roots you will get, and you just see the growth. From a single plant I got 45 tiller, and you can see the growth of the conventional one, and you can see the size of the panicle of the rice. So it is much higher number than that of inorganic way of cultivation. Okay. So through this technology, as a teacher, Actually every day we are facing the young minds sitting on in front of us with a blank eye or void eyes, whatever. We always blame na, अरे क्या हो गया आज का स्टूडेंट का, वो लोग पढ़ाई में ध्यान नहीं, क्यों देंगे भाई, उसके सामने कुछ तो दिखाना पड़ेगा जे आफ्टर योर ग्रेजुएशन तुम भूखा नहीं मरोगे, यू कैन क्रिएट द जॉब, you can be a creator. Institute and university doesn't make for just making certain black and white certificate degree wala kuch personal. The institute basically make for serve the society. ये lesson हम लोग को अभी we have to change our thought process, we have to change our mindset of that why we are standing in front of young mind. It's our duty to see their face smiling one. It's our duty to convert their sorrow or pain to the pleasure. So through this technology, your student can become entrepreneur in 6 different sectors. So I am now making entrepreneur in 6 different sectors. One is for small and marginal farmers and rural youth. What I try to do in that sector, I try to aggregate certain farmers, those who have a small land with a cow, and the farmer have interest regarding the organic one. I aggregated them and I make a laboratory in that area. Thereby they are producing all the product by themselves, and they are using this product by themselves for conversion of their land to inorganic to organic one. So those who have land, they are now entering into this cooperative system. Those who doesn't have land, so I try to make certain farm. I just ask different industrialists, sir, you can invest in the agriculture. In most cases, everybody told me, sir, उसमें कोई कुछ धंधा नहीं है. That's the terminology they generally use. उसमें सर धंधा नहीं है. But I got certain people, they are interested. So commercial farm, organic vegetable and fruit production system, in commercial horticulture, tea, betel vine, floriculture, to your in south you will get the coffee. So you can use this technology in the horticulture sector, in polyhouse and greenhouse cultivation. Nowadays government giving 50% subsidy in polyhouse and greenhouse cultivation system. You can utilize this same technology, single technology, you can utilize this thing. And in case of organic farming in urban areas, actually urban areas are growing vertically. Actually in that vertical means jungle of building, you will get certain veranda or balcony in the houses. If you get the balcony, you can get the roof. So you can go for rooftop gardening, you can go for this balcony based gardening. Thereby you can easily produce at least 1-2 vegetable without any poison, that for feeding your baby at least. Then organic farming in urban area, then organic hydroponics. Nowadays hydroponics emerged as an important area, so you can make an organic hydroponic system. I have make my journey in all the sector, and then I translated this knowledge, this work to the societal level. So I'll go step by step. Okay, this is the fundamental principle. Okay, so initially I transfer this technology to the marginal farmer. My first actually laboratory made in Hooghly district at Bolagad area. This is the laboratory. You can see the size of the laboratory. This is 6 feet by 8 feet, one laboratory. One day I have given them training. In that people, only one person was there who is class 12 pass, and 4-5 people were there around class 8 pass, and rest they know how to sign. So I trained them only one day, and next day you just see my hero. They know how to run autoclave, they know how to inoculate, they know how to mass propagate Azotobacter, PSB, KSB, ZNSB, then Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus. They are producing by all these things by themselves. They know go for the solid culture, for liquid culture of the fungi, we use the conical flask in our laboratory. You know the price of a conical flask. It's 175 rupees. So from where this farmer will get 175 rupees for making the liquid culture of trichoderma, liquid culture of Bavaria. So again, I converted that 175 rupees into 2 rupees. Just see my vessel. This is the vessel we use, used by the farmer for production of these fungi. And in a single bottle, you will get the spore population is much more than that of a 1 kg of product, whatever they have mentioned in the packet. So after complete growth, they take out the bottle, take a bucket filled with water, and they put all these mycelia and bacteria spore within the bucket, gently rub them to remove the spores and mix thoroughly. Then they filter it, put it their vessel, spraying vessel. Immediately they transfer to the land. Thereby they are actually producing this thing, and all these products nowadays available in the market. And the cost, remember my word, cost is 300 to 600 rupees per kilo, but this cost is 2 rupees per kilo, live with a birth certificate. The fungus and bacteria they produce, and they use this thing, they are filled. Okay, that's the impact of the work, and they are, for that reason only, this system work fantastic. So this is amino acid. One farmer made 1400 liters of amino acid. He got some free of cost fees, so used 1400 liter amino acid by himself, and giving all the, and you just think about the cost of 1400 rupees. This amino acid is around 28 lakhs rupees. Okay, so he's giving free to all the farmer. This is pheromone trap for trapping the insect, fruit borer insect. And just see, this is the land. They produce their product. Not a single molecule of chemical fertilizer, not a single molecule of chemical pesticide. For inorganic way of cultivation, this parial. Okay, so there is the chemical fertilizer and chemical pesticide is needed around 28,000 rupees. Okay, and my technology, through my technology, the cost is 7 rupees per day per bigha. 7 rupees per day per bigha. Okay, so they are producing the pride of Hooghly is potato. My farmers, without any chemical fertilizer and pesticide, normally those who are inorganic way of cultivation, they use 3 packet of 10, 26, 26, 40 kg of urea and many pesticides. Here, my farmer do not use anything, and he is giving highest production in potato in his area. Now he become the boss of that area. And as I said, now see, my farmers are suited with it. They every day morning they keep their harvest, go to housing complex, sell their product, and earns lump sum amount, come back to their home. Okay. So, and this is another Hirmad area. In probably in 2017, 2022-23, CSR fund for ACL company, they asked for sustainable development project. 1280 projects was submitted by around the India, so far I know. Then out of that, 3 actually got been awarded. First one got 5 crore rupees, and rest to get the runner-up will get 25 lakhs rupees. Out of these 3, one group was there, that is Vandana Siva's group. The lady who is known as Gandhi of Grange, and rest 2 is Krishnendu Acharya's group. And this group means mentor of this group, the NGO actually got the first prize of 5 crore rupees. And another group from Sundarban, they got 25 lakhs rupees. This is the impact of the sustainable development goal, what I have initiated in the villages to help my Bhagavan who every day feed us good food. So they make this community type of Jivamrit and Ghana Jivamrit preparation. Immediately they produce all these things, spread over the field. They are producing Azatobacter PSB, as I said. This is the fermenter actually. This is 10,000 fermenters. Okay, so they are producing all the bacteria by themselves. Just see my scientists. These are my scientists. Salute to these scientists. I am lucky enough that I got the opportunity to see these Bhagavan very closely. Okay, they don't have dress like us, but dil हमसे बहुत बड़ा है भाई. Okay, deal and dimags हमसे बहुत बड़ा है. Okay, so this is the thing. They are producing this bacteria. They are producing all the fungi. You just see the number of bottle. You just calculate the number of bottle with 300 rupees. It's a more than lakhs rupees they producing every week, but they are investing only 2 rupees per bottle. And these are the product. You just see single potato plant. सब बोलते हैं everybody tells that organic में production कम हो जाएगा. Just see the production. Just see the production. Because organic is a holistic journey. Remember my words. Okay. Organic always holistic journey. Okay, so this is this year from ACL company, this group got the 5 crore rupees. This is Kultali block, Rani Rasmani NGO. They also got the 5. Now we are working with 800 people there. This time we are adding more 1,500 farmers in this total team. Okay, and you just see the laboratory is a means thatched house. You just see this is the house actually where I make the laboratory. Okay, mud house, we make the laboratory there. They just see my scientists. They know how to prepare media. And if you meet these people, they will tell you the science behind this organism. Why trichoderma will use, when will trichoderma use, when the azotobacter will use in the field, how will make the prescription for any crop. For brinjal, they make one prescription. For rice, they make another type of prescription for maintenance the harmony and rhythm of the plant and the soil. So these are the lands they are using. So this is Datan. So I just show you where I am working. This is Basanti block. This is Pachal. So Pachal is going now conserving different types of millets. Then this is Bolpur Shanti Niketan. They are conserving our traditional varieties of rice. Right now we are conserving around 350 traditional rice variety from West Bengal only. This is Begunbari at Malda. This is just see the field, just see the field, just see the color of the land, color of the vegetable. Okay, so that way I'm trying to aggregate certain people. So you can ask your student that you can think about it. They can be a consultant. If engineer people can become a consultancy firm, and this is the era of biology. Biology deals with life. Okay, so why shouldn't there a consultancy firm in agricultural sector? In human, there is a consultancy firm. If you have a critical disease, you visit any hospital, they make one team for diagnosis and all these things. But for agriculture, just think. So give this message. Okay. Time is coming. Everybody will jump into the agriculture. Now people are trying to direct your mind to other direction. Thereby they will get the vacant land. Once they get the vacant land, they will make the crop for us. You have to purchase the crop. Okay. So again, we are going towards the slave. Okay. Please try to think. Land is ours, manpower is ours, food is essential. Without food, और कुछ नहीं चाहिए जिंदगी में. At least खाना तो चाहिए. Okay, so just motivate your student, so they can make a consultancy firm. They can aggregate the people. they can finally give the harvested. Suppose a farmer, if that farmer who sell that potato at 4 rupees, if he can sell that potato as 25 rupees, just think the gap between 4 and 25 or 5 and 25. Okay, so you can motivate your student, be a creator, don't be a beggar, don't try to think become a servant, try to uh, creator and create job for the others too. Okay, so now those who do not have land, so here your student also become consultant also. Okay, so entrepreneurship to converted a barren land to the food orchard. As I said, during COVID time I made many because that time you probably heard this term, that is migratory labor is coming back. They are coming back, that's true, but what they will do, what they will do. So that time I think that if I can create certain job for these people, so I try to visit different types of industrialists, different industrialists, and asking them, अरे थोड़ा तो इन्वेस्ट कीजिए in the agriculture. They told me repeatedly, उसमें धंधा कुछ नहीं है. That's the truth. So one actually industrialist become interested. He asked me, sir, I got one land. Where? That is in Bankura. Never ever been cultivated in that land, barren land. Okay, okay, and never ever been cultivated. So can you do something there? I asked him, if I get soil. Oh, okay, you will get soil. So then I have a confidence about my philosophy and my work, and I go for testing of NPK. I found more or less all of them are 0 level. Okay, so this is the land. You can see this is the land. इसमें कुछ हो सकता है क्या? Can any person produce anything there? Nobody cultivated in that land till date. I have taken this challenge. I made this land to a gold mine. Just see the gold mine. This is the miracle of organic. Okay, just see the gold mine. 35,000 dragon plants. Fruit orchard. We made one fruit orchard there. Beside dragon plants, the red lady papaya is there. Then Malta is there. This is guava is there, and so many intercroppings are there. Okay, at least 50 got job in this particular land. Okay. Beside this, I have tried to introduce same technology to the polyhouse cultivation system to create job for the others. This is a polyhouse. They are producing, this is 1 acre polyhouse, big polyhouse. And this they are producing English cucumber, bok choy, romaine, different types of leafy vegetables. And at least 7 people got job in this polyhouse. This way I made many polyhouse. Just see the color and just see the beauty of organic crop. Just see the color and beauty of organic crops. Okay. Also, I introduced my technology in the bell pepper cultivation from a small 1,000 square meter area. No, 400 something square meter area. I got 3.2 ton production of this bell pepper. Also, I translated this thought to the horticulture sector. So this is actually the plants used for flower bouquet to create job for the others. Okay, here 14 family depends on this sector. So they are producing azalea, Song of India. This is the leaf for the bouquet, Victoria, China palm. So they are producing, and every month these people are earning around 3 lakhs rupees from this field. This is introduced in the this betel vine cultivation. Nowadays, you know, the betel vine cultivation mostly transformed into the inorganic way of cultivation. They use huge amount of pesticides and fungicides, and also they use huge amount of fertilizer to get the production. Actually, generally we take beetle vine in raw, so you just imagine how much raw poison we are taking during this beetle vine one. So we tried to convert their land into the organic one. Now my beetle vine producer getting highest auction during their beetle vine selling, and these leaves actually survive in ambient temperature for 17 18 days, no problem. But if you just check the chemically produced beetle vine leaves, it can be good status for within maximum of 2 3 days. Okay, so that's the impact of this organic one. We converted that into the beetle vine cultivation system. And after 6 months of my journey in this beetle vine, this farmer actually called me around 11 p.m. one day. And actually, I was surprised why this person calling me at 11 p.m. He told me, sir, एक बात बताना है, नहीं तो मैं रात को सो नहीं पाएंगे. मतलब बताओ क्या है. So he told me, during my childhood, I always sleep with my grandfather. Grandfather tells story about my beetle vine cultivation and all these things. He told that every time that during beetle vine जो place है, you will get on that beetle vine cultivation area small creature like small birds, reptiles, many more small creatures in that area. But from my childhood, I never seen any small creature in my garden. Okay, but today that small birds came back to my garden, sir. So what my grandfather told, it's a real journey. What I have found. So that gives me a lesson. You just help your mother nature. Mother nature will create the whole ecosystem by herself. The beauty of mother nature, just stand behind this mother nature. Just a little help needed, or asking your mother nature, please give this thing to your mother nature. Mother nature creates whole system, all system for the betterment of you and your society and your beloved one. So that's the important story I just share with you. Okay, now organic farming in the metropolis area, in the Kolkata and metropolis area. These metropolis area growing vertically. We cry for global warming. Just see. All of you definitely know that global warming, we cry for global warming increasing, sea level will increase. We cry for global warming. You just see most of the meeting for global warming takes place in air conditioned room. They choose the meats for their lunch and dinner, but we cry for global warming. It's a fallacy. Okay, so don't cry for global warming. Just right now you are 37 right now sitting in front of me, or 36. Okay, everybody try to make only one small plant in your window. 100 gram of dry plants every year you just gather. 100 grams of dry plants means 100 grams, 46 gram of cellulose. 46 gram of cellulose means 46 gram of glucose. 46 gram of glucose means 46 into 6 gram you carbon dioxide sequester for the mother nature. So don't cry for global warming. Do something for changing global warming. That's my request. Also, you convey this message to your student. Don't cry for global warming. वो क्या करेंगे, ये क्या करेंगे, forget about these things. हम क्या करेंगे? हम जोड़ के millions होते हैं, and millions can create revolution. We always look for the top down. ऊपर में जो बोलेंगे वही करेंगे. अरे change it, bottom up. बॉटम में क्रिएट करिए. बॉटम बड़ा से जुड़ते जोड़ के टॉप तक पहुंच जाएंगे हम. लेकिन बॉटम अप इज इंपॉर्टेंट. Don't try to think top down. Always try to think bottom up, because you have the power. Every year you are dealing hundreds of students. Okay, we can create the revolution. Okay, So what I tried to do in Kolkata and adjoining area, okay, we make a very simple. If I get 4 feet by 4 feet small area in your means house, where I can produce at least every day one organic product for your dish. So this is the structure. You can take a snapshot of this structure. You can take a snapshot of the structure. This is 4 feet by 4 feet, and just see the structure. You will get 13 place in this particular design. And in this 13 place, just see the production. Just see the growth of the plants. And this is the structure. You can take the snapshot of the structure, and this is the production process. And also, we have intervened into the rooftop gardening. This is rooftop gardening in a hospital. They are producing all the vegetable for their patient in the rooftop gardening without any chemical fertilizer and without any chemical. Just see the production. Just see the production. It's a 3 feet by 6 feet structure with a 1 feet depth of grow bag, where we are mixing that soil, one part soil, 1 part coco peat, and 1 part compost, along with all the bacteria and fungi. That's all. Okay. Then just see the quality. Just see the quality of leaf, quality of fruits, quality of all these things, and just see the quality. Okay. Organic speaks. That's the important thing. Organic speaks. Now we translate this idea to the hydroponic system, organic hydroponic system. I have shown you that big polyhouse. That hockey area of that polyhouse I utilize for production of 5,000 plant per week to per 15 days. That is through hydroponic. They go for a quotation from a hydroponics industry. They given the quotation of 15 lakhs. Okay, but I become the plumber, and just see, this is myself, and I teach them how to make the hydroponic system. This is the DFT technology, deep flow technology. NFT technology, DFT technology. I basically follow DFT technology because its में risk कम है. Risk is little bit lower in case of deep flow technology. So we use the deep flow technology, and they produce this. Now they are producing 5,000 this romaine, bok choy, lettuce, baby palong, then pudina, and so many things. Okay, and that 15 lakhs goes down to 2 lakhs only. 15 lakhs goes down to 2 lakhs only. Okay. And beside this, also I translated this technology for producing Miyawaki forest in my Kolkata area, because Kolkata area grown vertically. We don't have a space to grow large number of plants to supply oxygen, because you cannot create a big forest in Kolkata area, or any area. Also, you can make a demonstration this Miyawaki forest in your area. So I converted the strategy of designed by Miyawaki Akira, because he's a botanist, actually Japanese botanist, and is a plant ecologist. He designed a technology how to make a forest of 150 years within 15 years. Okay, 150 years का forest 15 years में कैसे बना सकते हो? He has designed the technology. But soil preparation is very important. For his soil preparation, he used this coco peat, but coco peat is too costly. We born and brought up in a country like India, so 50 rupees per kilo is it's a big amount of money. So again, we converted coco peat to 0 paisa value material, that is the sugar cane badges. They use perlite for porosity and others. So for porosity, again, perlite is 100 rupees per kilo. Again, we convert goes down that 100 rupees to more or less 0 rupees. Only the rice husk. We use rice husk. Besides rice husk and this coco peat, we use all the bacteria and fungi, all sorts of amendment we use in the system. And I can show you something. Last year only, we have transplanted 15,000 plants in Kolkata adjoining area. This year we just started right now making one journey of 30,000 plants in Kolkata area. Okay, last year, just see, only 1 year, 500 plants. This is 100 square meter of land. 100 square meter of land in actually we are growing 500 plants in 150 square meter of land. Just see the compactness of this forest. And just see, within 1 year, 1 year 3 months, just see the growth of the plants. So, and still survival rate is 493 only. Okay, so out of 500, still 493 plants survive. And just see the growth, and thereby we are trying to make the actually helping our mother nature to give us better oxygen for ourselves and for the peoples living in this planet. Till today, only one green planet discovered and destroyed. So it's our duty, prime duty, make it more healthier, and more healthier. So it's a journey made by myself. Not only that, we have make one organic hut at Kolkata, where farmers of organic producer, they came to that hut to sell their product. And also I make many entrepreneurs in different sector. This is in mushroom sector, this is in microgreen sector. so that is we are trying to help the young mind to create something new to survive themselves and also for the society. So I have tried my level best to reach to you. This is a small journey. Whatever the little knowledge I have tried to translate this thing, because every time I always think that ye jo kapda maine, whatever I am wearing today, the tax bearer also, they are my the chai wala, the dhopi wala, the rickshaw wala, they are the contributor. So it's our prime duty, at least, to serve the society. Otherwise my life will become meaningless. दो आपको लेके आए, चार आपको छोड़ने जाएंगे. इसका मिडिल में जो है वही है जिंदगी. आपको लेके आए दो, छोड़ने के लिए जाएंगे फोर. इसके बीच में जो छोटा सा है ना, that is जिंदगी. Enjoy every booth of your life. I never work. Every day I enjoy 16 hours. So that's my actually journey in my life. So ये जो आपने ये जो you have given me the time, I tried my level best to make justice on that. If my talk inspire a little bit my young dear friends, ये जो लड़ाई है, it's a big things to be we have to overcome. I'm keeping a blank page for you, sir and ma'am. This is a blank page for you, all of you. If my talk inspire a little bit, please write some story here of your journey. एक दिन कहीं भी we'll meet again. That time you will deliver a talk. Definitely I'll be there in the audience. After your talk and your journey, successful journey, I definitely stood up for you and I'll give a big clap for you. कमाल कर दिए. ये मेरा ड्रीम है. This is my dream. Because we the people actually the creator of the society. We always like to blame. ये टाइम का बच्चा अच्छा नहीं है. अरे भाई, हम लोग का टाइम में भी बच्चा अच्छा नहीं थे. You just see during your student life, so many elite students are there. Just see your status. वो लोग कहाँ वैनिश हो गए. जिसको सबने बोले थे तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं होगा, देखो they are ruling the society. So don't blame your student. Whatever they learned till today because of us. हम लोगों ने सिखाया. जो नहीं सिखाए वो because of us. We the culprit. They are not the culprit. ये मेरा बिलीव है. I never ever will blame any student anytime. आज तक आपने जो सीखा बिकॉज ऑफ अस, नहीं सीखा बिकॉज ऑफ हम लोगों ने आपके दिल दिमाग में इंस्पिरेशन डाल नहीं सका. we are not we are not interested what you want, actually what you actually like. No parents, no teacher understanding एक स्टूडेंट का दिल में दिमाग में क्या चाहते हैं, what they want. क्या, क्योंकि हमारे पास इतना समय कहाँ है, वक्त कहाँ है भाई, हमारे पास बहुत वक्त है. एवरी डे गम दैट भगवान 86,400 पल्स देते हैं हम लोग को जीने के लिए. we can use it, we can waste it, but जिंदगी बहुत छोटा है सर. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much to all the participants that you have given me chance to share my thoughts in front of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your even a thank is also a very small word in front of you. Your philosophy, your work, your culture, everything culminates a simple word. You have got answer of all problems. Rather, you are the solution. You are the panacea of all problems. I think I must say. The before I open the session for question and answer.
10 মিনিট আছে, এখনো 10 মিনিট আছে,
এখনো 10 মিনিট আছে।
আমি দেখে
আমি
নিই।
চাই এটা আধ ঘন্টা যাক। হ্যাঁ, আমি আমি তো তোমার স্টুডেন্ট হিসেবে, আপনার স্টুডেন্ট হিসেবে, সরি, আপনার স্টুডেন্ট হিসেবে চাই এটাকে আধ ঘন্টা হোক। প্রত্যেকে, এভরিওয়ান শুড আস্ক দেয়ার কোয়েশ্চেন্স, and at last if I get an opportunity I will definitely try to ask a question, but before that it's the time for the participants to ask questions to sir, clear your doubts whatever way. We have tried to give the best person in front of you, extract or anything you want from him. That's our request to you all. Your session, it's such a brainstorm. People will take little time just to get settled down. I feel so, because it was really bringing tears in my eyes. I must say, whatever little do, we take the pride in. I have achieved so much of thing, but in front of you, it's just such a minuscule
All
thing.
of you are the achiever. I believe on that.
Definitely, so many
This
things
is a
are yet
pride
to be
moment
done.
for me. My student introducing myself to me it's a pride moment for me. তোমার আলোতে যেদিন আমি আলোকিত হতে পারবো, দ্যাটস এ প্রাইড ফর
সেটাই,
ইট।
আমরা কজন সেটা করতে পারছি,
না না
দরকার
সেটা
কতজন করতে পারছি। That really haunts sometimes when we see your story.
দ্যাটস মাই ড্রিম, অলওয়েজ ইটস মাই ড্রিম। মানে
So
your
students,
glow enlighten us, me, then it's a pride for a teacher.
definitely sir.
Anybody have any query?
Sir,
হ্যাঁ
sir,
বলুন।
I am Dr. Deblina Sharkar from Bagnan College, Department of Chemistry. Sir, your speech was so inspiring, and I could understand that you have done the entire work from your heart. It's
Yes.
like your dream.
Yes.
So maybe we work to achieve certain targets. We are here also to achieve certain targets, but yours is like a dream. So I have a very just small question that in my house also we use organic jaggery.
Yeah.
So is it really helping my toddler, this organic jaggery, compared to the normal jaggery which we have?
Jaggery always become organic, but we people for highest means adulterant, we like to give adulterant. If you go for jaggery factory, you will see most cases they use the sugar to this thing for this time খেজুরের রস. Okay, if you want to taste the organic jaggery, please visit organic heart. You'll get the real jaggery from Bakuda. Okay, pure Nolen gur. Okay, and you just see the flavor and taste. You'll get everything. And those who are Kolkata based area, people from Kolkata based area, please visit Organic Heart and try to see the taste and flavor of all this product.
Okay, so here organic means that it's without adulteration,
Yeah,
nothing related to the farming technique, na?
no, that's a simple technology they use for production of this chegari. But organic means uh, they are not using any chemical pesticide, and when
Hmm.
they go for the cultivation of sugarcane, most cases they use the chemical fertilizer and pesticide. So very difficult to get the organic one. But in case of palm, that chegari, so you will get pure organic one. If you can make it by yourself, or if you can tell the people you prepare this thing, I'll go for purchasing the whole. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so
আর
much.
তোমাদের কোথায় বাগনান, বাগনান কিন্তু দারুণ জায়গা, কাজ করো বাগনানে। বাগনান প্লিজ কাজ করো বাবা। বাগনানে বোধহয় আমার একটি স্টুডেন্ট আছে ইন বটানি, আই হোপ সো। বাগনান কিন্তু দারুণ জায়গা, ওখানে কিন্তু ফুলের এবং সবজির বিরাট সুন্দর জায়গা। প্লিজ টেল ইউ মোস্ট অফ দ্য স্টুডেন্ট অফ ইয়োর স্টুডেন্ট বেসিক্যালি ফ্রম ফার্মার্স ফ্যামিলি। প্লিজ স্ট্যান্ড বিহাইন্ড দিস পিপল। ওকে, যদি কখনো অর্গানাইজ করো তোমাদের ফার্মারদের নিয়ে এসো, ওই স্টুডেন্টদের বাচ্চাদের বাবাদের আমি গিয়ে শিখিয়ে দিয়ে আসবো, হ্যান্ডস অন করিয়ে দিয়ে আসবো, হাউ দে ক্যান মেক ইট। ওকে, yeah, okay, best wishes.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Onurima Dash has raised her hand. So, Dr. Onurima
Yes,
Dash.
thank you, sir. Sir, it was an excellent delivery where we could understand the differences between organic or inorganic farming and what are the ill effects of using pesticides in a rampant way that is very evident nowadays. But there had been, if from very early childhood, we have understood that while we should choose our vegetables or fruits, if there are certain marks, or there had been a bee stung, or the fruit is not in a proper shape, that means it is very good and it is attacked by certain insect or bitten, then it is good for your health. But
Right.
in our generation, we see that we tend to incline ourselves towards speckless fruits and speckless vegetables, very beautifully looking food items. But if we are going for organic fertilizers, we are using it, then how come it will be different from the inorganic pesticides that we have used? Will those be producing fruits without any specks or anything? Then how to differentiate between which are organically grown and which have been grown using pesticides, chemical pesticides? How to differentiate those fruits or vegetables in market? Is there any?
In normal market, whatever you will get, mostly the chemical based. Okay, but organic, you will get certain people, they are producing organic one, and with whom I am working, they are producing organic. And I told them, you go to the supermarket, malls, you will get organic means too costly. For little brinjal, it comes around 300 rupees. But I have a condition with the farmers that you never sell organic in a higher price, because I decrease your production cost. For one bigger cultivation of brinjal, you need 20,000 rupees for inorganic cultivation. But here you are using 7 rupees per day per bigha. Whatever you are using, you use for your development of your land. Okay, so you will get certain precise means peoples are there. And still I am not telling my products are all organic, because I have given one name for my cultivation, that is NIA, no to inorganic agriculture. In your screen you are getting different blocks like that. Different people have different blocks. So in your block you are using organic, but the adjacent block they are using inorganic cultivation. So certain things will leach. So one day, but time will be changed. One day I'll see all the blocks will be covered by the organic one. So as a teacher, I never say the lie to the society. So for my cultivation strategy I named is as an NIA, no to inorganic agriculture. But one day that NIA will convert it into organic one. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Sir, basically, I'm from Chhattisgarh. I'm working in Chhattisgarh. I'm
okay.
from Kolkata,
Which
but
area?
I'm working in
So which
Chhattisgarh.
which
Uh,
area?
Sir,
Raipur.
Manendragarh, the new district MCB. I
Acha.
am in the lead college in
Oh,
zoology department.
okay.
So here we have Wednesday Hearts, and there the people from the nearby villages, they bring their fresh vegetables and fruits. So we can see the stark difference between what we get
Yes.
every day and in the heart.
Right, right.
So it is easy to identify because they basically they say that this is a fruit just been plucked from the tree, or
Uh,
this is already has shelf life more than that, and those fruits and vegetables can be identified, so by looking at them, that whether they are freshly plucked or they are being there in the storehouse for many days. And here, sir, there is a big farming going on for potatoes, and different kind of pahari alus are being cultivated here, the red ones. And
very good.
the red ones are being cultivated, and we have, because it's a kind of a plateau area, so we get various types of potatoes and beans, different kinds of beans, white brinjal also. So that in a way that I'm blessed to have these
Yes.
kind of foods and
But
vegetables.
I visited Ram, okay, what is that? Bilaspur, then
Raigad.
Raigad area. But
Raigad
in
is close to, sir, Odisha border. Odisha, Chhattisgarh.
Raigad, Bilaspur, ke, that is the airport is there near
Yeah,
Bilaspur.
sir, Raipur,
Raipur,
Raipur is,
Raipur.
Raipur
Yes,
is the
I went there.
capital,
One of
state
my
capital.
and the farmers randomly using chemical fertilizer and pesticide in Chhattisgarh area. That in the actually cultivated land. But the village people, those who are growing their fruits and vegetables in their home, that's a good thing. But they are actually using habituated to use huge
Raipur
amount
is
of
is a typical urban area where
yeah,
people are, where the demand is more, and that's why they are going for this
maybe.
um,
So
fertilizer.
Sorry,
also
But
you got some information regarding how to produce all these things. If you
sir,
have
actually,
any
yes,
query,
sir,
please.
I work in a tribal area. My
That's great.
workplace
Tribal area means fantastic area. You are in heaven.
vegetables and fruits are available here.
Yes. So
ma'am.
tell them this.
Sorry for the interruption. Sorry for the interruption, sir. Ma'am, or Arunima, ma'am, do you have any queries? Please have a direct
Ah,
contact with
ah,
sir, because we
ah,
have another
yes, yes,
speaker
yes, yes.
ready. And in the meantime, I can take another question from Dr. Uh, Tondrima Shil. She has asked a question. Chironomid larvae are there in rice fields. What organic things do you prefer, sir? This is the last question we can entertain.
Uh,
After that, our next
I don't know
speaker
about
is ready.
larvae is there. So for this, basically, you use initially before attack that the herbal preparation. Also amend your soil with the Bivaria Bivaria metarhizium, and verticillium, and also try to spray the BT.
Thanks a lot, sir, for the
Okay.
answer. And before I say thanks to all, it's my great pleasure. And we will definitely look forward meeting sir again in our next series of programs. One thing in the last, I must say, there is a long word in English dictionary uh, which describes the something which is beyond imagination. Can anyone ask this question with the can say the word? But I before I say that, it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I think that's the only word matches with Krishnendu Acharya. I may be a little exaggerating, but that's befitting with him. So I'm very sorry, but we have to, say
Thank
sir
you.
goodbye, because our next speaker is already on the line. It's really a wonderful journey, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot, sir.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, Professor Jana?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope
Thanks a
I am
lot.
also audible, right?
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Let me introduce Professor Nihar Ranjan Jana. Sorry, I misspelled his first name. Professor Jana received his BSc Honors and MSc in Human Physiology from University of Calcutta, followed by PhD from Vishwabharati University. After completing his postdoctoral training at Riken Brain Science Institute, Japan, he joined as a faculty at National Brain Research Center, Mysore in 2001. In 2018, he moved to IIT Kharagpur and joined in its newly established School of Bioscience as a professor. In the year 2022, he became the head department of biotechnology and played an instrumental role in merging both Department of Biotechnology and School of Bioscience into a single department, along with changes in teaching and research landscapes in mind with the rapidly evolving areas of biology and bioengineering. His laboratory investigates the molecular mechanisms of neuronal circuit dysfunction and underlying the behavioral deficits in selected autism spectrum and neurodegenerative disorders. He is a recipient of National Bioscience Award and Tata Innovation Fellowship Award from the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, K.T. Shetty Memorial Award from Indian Academy of Neurosciences, and Vasvik Industrial Award in Biological Sciences and Biotechnology. Today, Professor Jana is going to deliver a very interesting topic, understanding the root causes of mental illnesses, which is very much contemporary. And we need a lot of information on that because one day the other, in the 10% of the human populace is now suffering from mental disorders or some sort of mental tensions each and in this today's post-COVID world. So over to Professor Jana for his delivery. Thank you, sir. Thanks for
Yes,
giving
thank
me
you
the
so much.
opportunity to introduce you.
Yeah, thank you very much for introduction. So let me first try to upload my slide. I hope I will be able to do it, right?
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
It's visible, right?
Yes.
And I hope I am clearly audible to all of you.
Sir, one thing I must tell you, there is a second window coming over the slide, which is a
Yeah.
shorter version of the whole screen. Can you just minimize it so that we can see the whole
It's
system?
fine?
Yeah, now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Okay.
Perfect, sir. Perfect.
Okay, so thank you again for the kind introduction. Okay, so let me first tell few words about my current institute, IIT Kharagpur. I'm sure all of you are well known to this institute, and you can see. Let me put my laser pointer. So all of you are familiar about this iconic building, but what many of you probably not familiar about its journey, which started, in 1951, which started actually, you see this building in the background. So that's actually called Hijli Detention Camp. And it actually witnessed some of the worst, torture to our freedom fighters. And now it's kind of a, it's actually converted to a iconic institute. So where, I will say the temple of learning. Okay, so the institute actually now celebrating Platinum Jubilee year, and actually in our department we will be holding series of meeting. I guess you can see our website, and you might see a lot of updates there. Okay, so now let me start with my topic. So my today's talk will particularly focus on mental illness, as already pointed out. I'm not really going to talk about what is my lab is actually working on it, but I'll just touch some of the point. So as the mental health issue is one of the global issues. It's not only the India; it's global challenges. And of course, in India, particularly when you hear some of the news happening, suicidal problem happens, particularly in higher institutes like IITs, it's become issue. But it's and most of the cases you will find the root cause is actually mental health issue, some sort of mental problems. But if you really go and see in almost everywhere, every corner of the society, you will find out the same problem. All right. So and another major problem. I mean, although we are so going to a developed country, but if you look at some of the stigma that that still today's time we can face challenges. I hope you understand what stigma means here. So you can think about the social stigma. You can even think about the stigma at even a family level, or even you can think sometimes in the individual level. If somebody is suffering such kind of mental issues, it might be in the mild cases, they don't want to even tell their friends, thinking that it might have an adverse effect. The same thing happens in society. Family don't want to disclose because they might face some social isolation. So you can understand that. But if you can understand the issues quite in early stage, you could actually prevent. Rather than going through this so much of series of problem over the time, you could actually prevent. And when you think about it in the personal level, a traumatized or a stigmatized individual can actually face over the time more and more challenges, and that actually makes more problematic. It's kind of cyclical problem. Okay, so that's another challenge. So therefore, so in my talk today, what I'll try to actually dig. Of course, we'll talk about some of the very, very fundamental aspect of it. But try to find out what actually the root cause, from where actually the kind of mental problem that originates. If you think about the mental issues, you can broadly think about it's a problem of your either thinking, or you can think it's a problem of your feelings. So both component defect might leads to a series of behavioral issues that we can talk about, or can collectively be called mental issues. All right, so let me start with the global problem. What I'll do actually, I actually structured the talk in such a way. Like first, I will just raise the problem. It's a global problem. Then I'll come to the Indian context, what the situation now, and then I'll try to dig where is the problem. And at the end, I'll talk about how that problem leads to this kind of problem, disorders, and how we can correct it, or particularly how we can prevent it. So the talk is not only is the purpose. My purpose of this talk is not only academics purpose. It also going to have a huge impact to your personal life, could be, if it really works. So I'll be very happy with that. Okay, let's look at the global challenges and global problem. As per the World Health Organization report, about 12.5% of world population suffering from some kind of mental illness. Okay, so it could be a series of problems. Now, if you look at Indian context, there's a classic paper you can see in Lancet Psychiatry 2020. It's one of the very respectable journal. It came in 2020. So in that, actually gave a very comprehensive report in Indian context. And if you look at, I just put it in this left side. These are the disorders. In the rank wise. So if you see in Indian context, the top ranker, if you look in the mental health context, mental illness is the depression. The second comes is the anxiety. Third is the developmental intellectual disability. Then schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And there are some more are there. And if you look at, I'm just putting top two major cause of illness, depression and the anxiety, mental health issues. And if you look at the state-wide distribution, just concentrate in the West Bengal. I think both cases, if you look at the depression as well as anxiety, it's kind of middle category. If you look at the depression, from the southern belt, you see that Odisha to all the southern states has much higher risk of having depression. Well, you might, when you look at the data critically, you might think there could be some errors, because you see in Madhya Pradesh or even in UP, see there are sometimes the incidents are quite low. So you might think about that the things are not really properly presented. Of course, there might be some errors, but there is a sense that you can think some sort of problem definitely is going to happening. Particularly if you look at case of anxiety, see the Kerala, and think case of in Manipur and Nagaland. Particularly if you think of the Kerala, the most highly educated state, and you see the incidence of anxiety is very high, and you can't ignore that. Well, so whatever it is, so if you look at then we analyze with overall population. So I'm just sitting in the bottom. About 197 millions of people now in our country suffering from some kind of mental illness, and which is about say 14.3% of total population. And if you look at this percentage, it's not very different from the World Health Organization report that is about 12%. So data is quite well matching. So it could be here and there plus minus. But suddenly there is a considerable amount. You have to understand 14.3% means, so in 10 people, 1.5 people might be having some kind of mental problems. It's quite very high, very high percentage. All right. Okay, so then look at, we're now entering the problem. So where it comes from? Where is the origin? Of course, all you think about the brain. So I don't know about the audience. So I'm starting from the very scratch so that anybody from any background can at least get some basic understanding. Okay, but I'll go sometimes a little deeper too. Okay, let's start from the very beginning. So if you look at our brain, it's about 1.5 kilogram of roughly weight, and one of the most mysterious tissue you can think ever. And sometimes it's called one of the most sophisticated computational machine. And one of the most amazing thing that you can think in our brain is its continuously changing architecture. I can say the continuously changing hardware structure that even you can think today's most sophisticated computer can do. I hope you understand. And it can change continuously hardware based on the way it functions. Okay, so that's the aspect I'll be focusing more details about it. But now think about the biological perspectives. So our brains is having say about 100 billions of neurons, which are interconnected with each other and form a neural circuit. And this circuit actually enables a specific type of behavior, which I mean each and every behavior that we exhibit. And for each and every behavior, there must be a specific neural circuit involved with it. The neural circuit may take different parts of your brain, but a specific neural circuit is linked with a specific type of behavior that we exhibit. Just to give you an example, some are very complex behavior, like we mentioned, say think when we cry, when we smile, or even think when we feel for somebody, our love and affection for our child, or you just think about when somebody fall in love with somebody. What kind of neural circuit is involved in these processes? Can you imagine this? We really don't have any clue at this moment. We're just trying to understand those circuits which are involved in this kind of complex behavior. So I'm just opening the where the field is going. Now think in the other side. Think about a person showing all those mental issues. So I'm trying to make it clear that what kind of circuit abnormalities linked to this behavioral problem. Or you think about some of the worst cases. Think about a person is doing crime. What goes wrong to that person's brain? If you can understand the neural circuit basis of such kind of behavior, we could be able to correct a crime person to become a good person. So these are some of the promising future are ahead. Of course, I told you we are just beginning to understand. I'll just give you in this context. Of course, we'll be talking towards only how neural circuit defect can lead to some of the mental issues. At this moment, the things what is going on in the world. So the US is actually started a US Brain Initiative, it's 2013, with investing huge amount of money. At the same time, the same year, actually, European Union also invested huge amount of money. It's called European Union Brain Initiative. So the many countries, actually, Japan has their own initiative. Even many European countries also have their independent initiative. I think at this moment, China has a most, expensive investment on the brain initiative. It's actually one of the most heavily funded brain initiative. Unfortunately, our country, India, don't have such initiative. But I hope you understand why I'm focusing on this. Of course, it has a huge opportunity. It will make. It is making actually. At the same time, it's actually opening up a lot of solving a lot of issues that tomorrow we can think about. I mean, I'm talking about what the behavioral problem that I'm talking about. I am giving a broad outline about it. So now I'll come again to very basics. I'm sure all of you have seen. I talked about there are 100 billion some neurons that are present in our brain, which are making the circuit, right? So this is just to give you a simple neuronal architecture, and all of you are actually very much familiar about it. But if you try to see much deeper, I'm just showing the bottom. This is a real neural, pictures by using very very old-fashioned technique called Golgi staining. This is how it looks like. Now, if you just take a tiny part, to see my pointer, a tiny part, and enlarge. This is what you can see the image like. So what you can see, there are a lot of extended structures, right? I hope you can all see that. And that's actually, this kind of extended structure is called dendritic spines. Okay, so now you can imagine if a small tiny part of a dendrite is having this many, say about 20, 30 such dendritic spine, you can calculate a single neuron can have how many. You might think about it could be ranging from several thousands to maybe some neuron might be having several lakhs. If you think some of the largest neuron that present in a cerebellum called Purkinje cells, they might have 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs. So several lakhs range, they might have such spines. So why I'm saying that? So now if you think about 2 neuron has to connect with each other to make a network through a process you all know probably the synapse. Then they have to definitely connect in these spaces, right? These dendritic spines. So therefore, this dendritic spines number can indirectly tells you the number of synapses, right? So now think about if a neuron is having say 1,000 of dendritic spines, so then you can imagine that same neuron might have the capability to form thousands of synapses. It may not form. Some of the dendritic spine may not form synapse, but it has the capability to form thousands of synapses. In a way, if some neuron has say, lakhs of such dendritic spine, you might predict that that same neuron could form about lakhs of synapses. I hope the idea is clear. And therefore, you can again translate to better way to think about if you look at in terms of connectivity or neural circuit. So you can imagine this 1 lakhs, or even I'm talking about some thousands of synapses, you can understand that the complex nature of the connectivity could be. All right, so that's why I wrote if our brain has say roughly about 100 billions of neuron, then that 100 billions of neuron could make about 100 trillions of synapses. So now we can imagine the complex neural connectivity or circuitry that 100 billions of neuron can make in your brain. And that's the mystery. And you have to look at some of the circuit that makes some kind of behavior. And thinking some of the behavioral abnormality or circuit abnormality is not going to be a simple task. I hope you can imagine that. Now I'll put another complexity in this. The structure that I'm talking about, the dendritic spines, they're not static. They are very, very dynamic structure. Okay, so they're continuously forming and eliminating, thereby making the circuit, if I say, it's very dynamic. I hope it's understood, right? So therefore, that's actually I'm talking about when I try to differentiate with the computers, most sophisticated computer. These are the structure I'm talking about, hardware structure that are continuously changing in our brain. As you are listening to my talk, so that your brain is not static. There are a specific area of your brain, the neurons or some of the areas of your dendrites, there are some dendritic spines are continuously formation happen. Okay, so depending on how attentive you are, and it might totally eliminate after my talk when you go to your different task. If you can retain some of them, you might remember some of my, what am I talking about? So in a way, I'm trying to give you some idea. All the information you talk about memory, they are actually stored in terms of in the synapse or dendritic spine. You can think broadly about it. Well, so I hope these basic, very fundamental aspects are clear, right? Now I'll go to the next slide. Just to get little bit deeper, I talked about synapse, right? Dendritic spine and synapse. Now, if you go a little bit deeper, so this is actually using more sophisticated technology. This is actually a pyramidal neuron that present in your different part of the cortex, hippocampus, and so on. So this color actually says you can count actually, and these neurons you can estimate is about having about 8,000 of spines, which means this neuron have the capability to form 8,000 of synapses, right? Simply, and among these, here you see the different staining process that can identify only inhibitory synapse. So I'm just giving another layer of complexity. Okay, so if you just subtract from thousands inhibitory synapse, you might think about there are 7,000 of synapse that could be excitatory. Okay, so among these 8,000 spines or 8,000 synapse, there are 1,000 could be inhibitory and 7,000 could be excitatory. There is more complexity comes. There are different kinds of excitatory synapse you might think about. There are different kinds of inhibitory synapse. Just think in your mind. So that makes things are so complicated. It's not going to be so easy even when you think about it. Right? Therefore, you must need to think about computing. I hope this basic idea is clear. So with this, I'm now going to talk his completely different aspect. So what I told just can summarize. Our brain has 100 billions of neurons that can form 100 trillions of connectivity, synapse, right? But is that, I talked in a general sense, thinking about in all ages bringing together. But now just look at the time scale, temporal pattern. Just think about yourself. The day you born, at birth, so this is actually a picture from a human, the cortical areas. Some part of the cortex. Just imagine the brain section has been taken the day of birth. At the 6 years of age, when just think you are probably going to class 1, kg. And you think the age, the teenage, when you are become teen. Of course, the teenage concept is also, over the time gradually changing. I mean, whatever you should think about teen, say 13, so that 13 could be now, I mean, if you think about the maturity aspect, it could be about 1 or 2 years advanced. I mean, if you think about particularly when the menarche started in women, it's probably now, I think on an average, probably 10 years. So things become little different, and that also has implications on mental health issues. So I'm not really talking about that. Just have to concentrate on this 3 age group. And I showed you the Golgi staining. You just simply stain the Golgi staining and look at how it happened, what you can think about it. If you critically look at, you will see the number of neurons that present at your birth, at 6 years, or even at the teenage, you will find out not much changes. There are here and there constant, morely and fairly constant. But what dramatic changes that you can see is the amount of branching. I hope it's clearly visible, right? The amount of branching is dramatically increased at 6 years of age when you compare with birth. And then if you compare from 6 years to 14 years, there is again change. It's some amount of decrease, right? Now, if you try to calculate in terms of, you have to understand that more and more branching means, if you remember my last slide, you can think about more and more number of dendritic spines, right? So you can think about more and more number of synapses. I hope that idea is clear. So now if you try to plot age versus your x-axis is the age and y-axis is the synapse number. And in this picture, you can see we just taken a 2 part of the brain, the extreme frontal cortex, is often called the prefrontal cortex, and your back side of the brain, that's actually a visual cortex, the responsible for your vision. And just see it. how the pattern changes from your birth to some age. Although I have showed only 3 pictures, but when you plot it here, the different age group pictures have been put, and you see the graph. Just look at the case of visual cortex, is the back side of the brain. So there is a sharp increase in the synapse number. I'm talking about, so which means there's a random increase, a considerable increase in the number of branchings. So that's why the synapse number also increase. And then probably at 2 years of age, it start falling down. Income almost 50% decrease happens probably by the age of 8 or 9 years, and then it becomes stable. So stable line means here is the rate of formation and rate of elimination of synapse nearly constant. It's not that static, nothing. I mean, it's almost no change. Of course, it's no change, but I mean means that it's a fixed number. It can be variable. I mean, the rate of formation and elimination is nearly constant, so that's why it's maintaining kind of straight line. Okay, but if you look at the frontal part of the brain, the curve is quite different. Of course, you can see a peak, little bit flattened, right? And then of course it come down a little bit late age. All right, so I hope I am audible. If any point of time you feel something error, immediately you point it out, because I'm not able to see you guys. Okay, so
No, you're perfect,
Sure,
sir.
sir. Sure, sir.
We can hear you, sir. No.
okay, that's fine. So I hope you understand the two peak pattern. In other way, your front and back side of your brain. There's a completely different profile. You can see a peak, but the peak patterns are different, right? So I hope this is clear. So now if I summarize this, your neuron number don't change. So after birth, it's almost constant, in theoretically, but you see, if you are studying the literature, you will find out there are continuously new neurons are produced in our brain. There's a two specific area of the brain. It's called hippocampus and also in subventricular zone, where continuously new neurons are produced. We are not considering that. We are thinking that neuron number are fairly constant across your age if you are healthy. What changes you can think about is the number of branchings, and so the number of dendritic spine, and so think about the number of synapses. So that's how you are thinking, and you are plotting this, and you are seeing the peak, right? So if you just think about most earliest your developmental stage, like the age that, if you are early age of developmental trajectory from birth to say teenage, you see the pattern like this, right? So this is the phenomena you can think about. It's called plasticity, which means the early age, if I translate to in different form, like your early age or our early age brain, or developing brain, are extremely plastic. So plasticity, you understand, right? The continuous changing nature of the neural circuit, the synapse number. So that's actually defined as the plasticity, right? So if I say our early age brain or developing brain are extremely plastic than our adult age. The age that we are all now here, we are all probably in the state line, right? So we all have crossed that stage. So what's the meaning of it? Why I am talking about, and what's the meaning of that? That will be going slowly over the time. So now try to understand what is this peak called. So this peak is now typically called a critical period peak. I hope this is the picture I showed you earlier. So this peak is now called critical period peak, because it sharply changes, sharply increase, and then fall down. And the time window is very short for some part of the brain. So these critical period peaks are not uniform in your brain. So different areas of the brain has different critical period peak. This is just to show you two different part of the brain broadly. But there are regions of the brain has completely different critical period. Like if you think about hippocampus, where the memory is initially formed. If you think about your amygdala, the emotional memory or fear memory are formed, are responsible for fear memory. They have a completely different critical period. Just to give you an idea, the different parts of your brain has a different critical period. And critical period can be defined, I hope you understand now. All right, so this is called critical period. And now we can define like this. So a critical period I have already mentioned is the time window when our brain is extremely sensitive to environmental factors, environmental cues, right? So it's not that you got some genes from your parents and that makes you to cause like this. It's the environment. You might have a completely different genetic blueprint, but it's the environment where you grown up your early childhood that actually shapes some of the brain architecture, completely different role. I wanted to mean something. It's not that I'm talking about gene, of course, does play important role, but it's the environment play heavily to influence your brain function, particularly at early childhood. It's not that a intelligent person's kids can be a super intelligent. Don't think about. On the other hand, you can think a poor person's kids might be more intelligent. I mean, you can understand from a lot of examples you can see from your surroundings. So that can give you intuition how environment can play a profound role in shaping the brain architecture. And I wrote here sculpting the brain, and that's the blueprint actually have happens in your early childhood. And if something goes wrong, that will be the problem. That's what will be gradually going towards that direction. Okay, so I hope you have a clear idea about critical period. We all have crossed that stage, but we could take care of our child, right? New generation. Well, so I think this is going to be a little tricky, difficult. I will not go deeper on that. So there are guys who have actually scientifically, experimentally proved that critical period, whatever I talked about, they experimentally proved actually. So this is Thorsten Wiesel and David Hubel. So one guy is still surviving. So this is the Hubel and this is the Wiesel. So they did actually experiment in kitten. I'll just briefly go through it. It's going to be difficult to explain this. There's a lot of electrophysical recording, so I have to explain that. But just think about visual cortex. You know, your eyes and connected, your cortex is in the back side. Your eye is in the front side, your visual cortex in the back side, right? So the neurons originate from your eyes, goes and terminates in the visual cortex, back side of the brain. So what they did experiment briefly is they all did in kitten. Means, you know, that the early developmental stage of cat. So there you have to understand the cat's eye open at 2 to 6 weeks. 12 to 14 days, and the critical period of visual cortex is about 2 to 6 weeks. Just remember their eye opens 12 to 14 days. Like our rats and mice, what we do experiment, which around 10 to 12 days, they are also eye opens. So once the eye open, you understand, they're born with the closed eyes, not like us. We born with open eyes. So when a kitten born with the closed eyes and their eyes suddenly open at 12 days, you have to understand, sudden opening of the eyes. So this suddenly huge amount of light fast, right? And that stimulus activates the visual cortex. You have to imagine, eye was closed, suddenly eye open, suddenly huge amount of light goes through the eye and goes to the visual cortex, and then you can think about the plasticity. That huge amount of synapse formation and elimination started taking place, right? And that's the period called the critical period. So critical period is going to be around 2 to 6 weeks. So that's the time when you can see huge reorganization and you see those peaks. So now what they did actually, because in the visual cortex, now you can actually close and open the eyes. So they actually closed one eyes in normal kittens, and keep one eye open. So what you can think about, if you close one eyes during critical period just for 1 day, I hope you understand. During critical period, say maybe around 20 days of kitten, just close one eyes for 1 day, and then you open it. And then you record from the visual cortex neuron. You will be seeing huge reorganization because of the closing of the one eye. What I will briefly summarize, because of the eye opening, there is huge reorganization happening in the visual cortex. But if you just briefly, few hours of closing one eye, that can heavily influence the neural circuitry formation in the visual cortex. So that's what actually they actually experimentally proved, and this actually transformed many applications. Actually, it has huge applications. Particularly, think about when somebody born with a squint. Sometimes we call teracho, misaligned eyes. So those kind of cases, no, you can simply correct it by doing surgery. Because you have to understand, because the two eyes are not aligned properly, the light when it falls in the eyes, no, because it's not focused properly, so therefore the stimulus don't goes to the brain, visual cortex. So the visual cortex is not properly mature. It's often called cortical blindness, because the light, although you are thinking that light is going to the eyes, but it's not focusing in the retina. So once it's not focused in the retina, so the rod and cone cell, whatever the response, so it's not going. They take the response and ultimately transmit to the visual cortex. So the information don't go to the visual cortex. So that's why you are actually getting cortically blind. It's not visually blind. The cortical is become blind, not responding to the eyes. I hope things will be little clear. So therefore, if you can identify the squint in early childhood, and you can correct it, the vision could be perfectly normal. You often see those things happens nowadays. Same thing you can think about your hearing. I talked about. I'll just in between. I'll give some kind of maybe go to the other subject. Sometimes monotonous. Just I told you, we born with a open eyes, right? Not like animal with closed eyes. What do you think? The day one, you can see your mother or father or recognize somebody. You think, although you born with open eyes, you can see somebody. I'll ask you questions. Think about it. You might search Google, you might find out answer, but it's not. Although we born with open eyes, you can't really recognize. You might see something blurred, something. It's only developed maybe after 5-6 months later. Actually, visual acuity become fully developed maybe after 1 year, 1.5 years probably. It takes time over time to develop, but not before 6 months. I mean, baby cannot even recognize by looking at eyes to the mother, cannot recognize mother. So there are other ways to recognize. So this is something very interesting for you guys. You can think later. You might have questions later. But I'm just trying to explain you the critical period of plasticity. How these two guys, explored experimentally, and which has enormous impact on understanding our vision. And also there are certain correction of the visions. Well, so I'm all actually talking about the advantage. I'm still not coming to the mental health issues. I'll come maybe after these slides. I'm just trying to give you another very important aspect, the importance of the critical period. There could be a lot of advantage you can think about it. Think about the critical period of language acquisition. So I'm just see the left side. So if you look at the typical critical period for our language acquisition, it's about 2 to 10 years. So this is the time window when a child can easily learn any new language. We all have learned our mother tongue, right? But I will tell you, take the advantage now of the understanding of critical period. When you are teaching your kids a mother tongue, say Bengali, at the same time you can try to teach any other language, can be Hindi, can be English, or a different language. The child can think that language just like a mother tongue language, can easily understand or can easily, learn this language. So that's the advantage of this. But when it crosses 10 to 18 years, you still have learns quickly. You still can learn a new language, but not like native understanding like in these 2 to 10 years. And after 18 years, say when you are just class 12 pass, understanding or learning a new language is going to be very tough. Like us, if somebody told us to learn at this age a Hindi or some other South or foreign language, it's going to be tough. We can learn, but it's going to be very tough to learn a new language. But think about it. If a kid learns in 2 to 10 years of age, when they are learning a mother tongue, at the same time they can learn any language without any ease, just like a mother tongue. So this is another advice for all of you guys. take that advantage. When you're teaching your kids, not that by default they will learn, right? When you talk in home, but just can teach any other language, same time. The child can take it very, very quickly. Okay, so that's the advantage of critical period. And think about today's education system. So today, whatever you are, I'm sure all of teachers, I don't know what's your age, but think about when you think about your kids. It starts from nursery, KG1, KG2, and so many things. But think about in our time, no such thing was there. We first came to the school probably class one. So the way we have been taught in the school, maybe some of you also there in the audience, and way our new generation childs are actually taught is completely different. So just distribution system is getting transformed. So many of the understanding actually coming from this critical period of understanding. You have to understand that. Okay, so I hope you got one such advantage of critical period. So I'm just trying to give you a broader perspective. So this critical period is often considered a window of opportunity or also a window of vulnerability. So window of opportunity I have already explained. By using that critical period knowledge, you can make your child smarter and smarter. Okay, by putting your kids in different kind of enriched environment. Anyway, there could be n number example of enriched environment. But think the other side. So that's what I'm now going to focus, the vulnerability. If some wrong information goes during this critical period, wrong information could be many things. Think about a child is malnutrition. Today we know, malnutrition is not that only deficiency. Overfeeding also sometimes become malnutrition. I mean, not proper diet. So the malnutrition has different way to explain. But think about a child in our society. Many of them are not getting proper nutrition. How those child's brain will be developed, and how those kids when they will be developed will transform our country. If you think there's a human capital, if you want to convert those childs into human capital, what you can expect? So one of the major contributor for vulnerability is the malnutrition. But then you think about other adverse effect could be stress, abuse. So in other countries, so social abuse, childhood abuse. So abuse is one of the major contributor in many countries. The neglect, all those things you are all familiar about it. If your childhood condition, a child get stressed, abused, or neglect, it can have a devastating consequence. And in many cases, they'll end up when they become adult or even grown up kids, they'll end up with a series of behavioral abnormalities. It could be mild from depression, anxiety to the most serious, maybe schizophrenia or other kind of mental illness. That's what I mentioned. Even sometimes it could be a series of developmental problem too in early childhood stages. This I'll go on by one little bit details, but I hope you understand the critical period concept, which can be used for some advantage purpose, good purpose. But on the other hand, it can also be very much detrimental for your brain development. So therefore, I may again take you to the your childhood case, but every of us childhood case. That's the time. Your childhood time up to maybe teenage, whatever you did, wherever environment you live, that actually shapes your future. That actually shapes your brain architecture. So future means that's the time your brain architecture, whatever it is, whatever input it got, that makes you today you are what you are. So therefore, you can take this information, take this understanding. If you have a kids in your home or when you're teaching to kids, please try to use that knowledge. You don't need much information. You just have to use this little information to make the child's future better and better. Well, so look at, so now you know this is the curve, right? I'm just now going to talk. I told you that different part of our brain has a different such critical period. So I'm just now trying to take a single peek, just a generalized way I am trying to explain. Just think there is a critical period in our brain development. The single peak. And here I'm just trying to talk about how the peak pattern change is linked with different kind of mental health issues. So just think about this, the broad one, this is the gray color one. So this is typical, the curve, normal brain. If you look at critical period, any normal person. So there are phases. If you look at this, the growing phase, That is often called synaptogenesis because the n number of synapses are rapidly produced. Then there is a phase of decline that's called pruning, and there is a stabilization that's called spine maintenance, dendritic spine maintenance. The three phases. That's a typical graph you see. But when you look at the different, I'm just talking about, I will talk about two different aspects, taking example. First, I'm just trying to explain is understanding from the various genetic disorders. So if you look at various genetic disorders, I'm sure many of you heard about some of these names. At least you heard about Down syndrome. I'm sure all of you heard about Down syndrome, but some of you probably heard about Fragile X, Rett, Angelman, my love on it. But at least you heard some of the name. And each and every disease cases, they're actually sometimes monogenetic. Each and every disease cases, you see the peak patterns are different. What I'm trying to explain you is, in normal circumstances, peak patterns comes like this, right? But take example in case of Down syndrome, the typical pattern is not like normal. So the patterns actually, if you see in case of Down syndrome, if you see the black one, probably this one, the number of synapses, if you think at this stage, is lower than typical normal person. On the other hand, if you look at the case of this Tuberous sclerosis, or even if you think about the case of autism, you will be seeing that the number of peak pattern will be like this, bigger. I mean, height will be much bigger. So, which indicates, in case of autism, the number of synapses or other number of dendritic spines might be much larger than the normal population. You have to understand there could be a huge variation, individual to individual variation. So 10%, 15% fluctuation of spine number might not give you any kind of behavioral problem. But once there is a more fluctuation, so 20-30% fluctuation, increase of the synapse number, the child might land up with autism. If it is a decrease of 20-25% of the synapse number, that might lead to Down syndrome. So this is the example coming from various genetic disorders, which I can, if you summarize, that the critical period peak actually varies in all those genetic disorders. I hope the idea is, understanding is getting a little bit clear. I'll just give you some perspective that in my lab, just one or two slides. So this is actually gene EB3A, whose loss, defect can cause a disorder, developmental disorder, where you see the less number of synapses. Its gain of functions, it's an enzyme which overactivations leads autism. And where you see more number of synapses. I think that gives a very clear idea. In case of single gene, when it's deleted, you get Angelman syndrome. When it's overactivated, it's give autism. Well, so that's actually is very good model to understand how a particular genes regulate critical period peak. So that's hard actually kind of give you idea how my lab works on it. It's not that I hope some of you, I don't know whether you heard about this name. You must have heard about autism. But I don't think many of you probably have not heard Angelman syndrome. It's there actually in India. It happens in India. One of the unique features I put in the red color. These childs are actually, sometimes laughing or smiling is a problem for them. Sometimes once they start smiling or laughing, it sometimes cannot be stopped. So that makes a problem. You can't imagine that smiling or laughter can also be detrimental. Well, but these childs are very, very lovely childs. Sometimes, they loves to play with water. They loves to play with some type of music like autistic child. Well, I'm sure most of you are familiar about autism. I'm not going to tell that. I'm just trying to explain how the critical period defect could lead to such problem. Of course, it's a genetic point of view. I must try to explain. Let's just give you some different perspective just to out of the subject. This is about Angelman syndrome. So we do work for the cause of this. I'm just trying to reach out as many as people through you guys. So we have in our country Angelman Foundation, which is actually founded by this lady. So this is their kid actually. So that guy is actually suffering from the Angelman syndrome. I'm just following up these kids from 2 years now, the 9 years old. Many things are actually improved with therapy, but the serious problem of this, disease is actually the child shows occasional seizure, which sometimes is very difficult to control. Of course, all the developmental milestones are delayed, like started walking takes time. Sometimes many of them cannot even talk, so there's a speech problem. Sometimes people can try to talk after a lot of speech therapy. But one of the serious problem, of course, two problem is the speech problem. People, child cannot speak. The other problem is the seizure. Sometimes very hard to control. So you must need a medication to control the seizure. So therefore, it's a problem. But once child's grown up, up to certain age, things gets much better. But there is no therapy. So every year we have actual celebrations in actually February 15th is actually World Environment Day. I have put this website. You can see website. There are a lot of information. If you find somebody, some child diagnosed with Angelman syndrome, would contact. You can contact me or contact this lady. She's the main person handle this, and some of my students from United States actually try to help the foundation things better and better. Well, so we'll go again back to my talk. So I was talking about critical period defect that could link with different kind of developmental problem with having mental illness. And I was talking from the genetic point of view, genetic mutations that could lead to. Think about some of the environmental factors. Now I'll go some of the slides. Yeah, I have some time. So I'll show you some of the slides, at least one or two, which tells you probably more than genetic factor. I think it's the environmental factor that could really have huge issues for our mental health problem. And I'm just showing you one of the example here. The sodium valproate, is one of the most commonly, I think only probably major medicine used to treat epileptic seizure. Okay, but if this drug is taken by a pregnant mother, even in the single dose, might land up the child with autism. This is very well proven. So therefore, a pregnant mother would never be prescribed to this drug. But you think about if some woman is having epileptic seizure, try to conceive, this is really a problem. And you see this example here. Is a mother having 5 of her autistic child. Can you believe this in Western country? I just can think about it. How can mother is taking the same medicine, actually sodium valproate? You can see this here, and having 5 child is autistic. We have understood long before. So that gives a serious concern. I mean, don't you think in our country such situations don't happen? It's very difficult. If you go in the village area, I don't think even people can really know that the sodium valproate can cause this kind of problem. So it's obviously you can think such kind of problem, and if you are somebody who are little bit in this line, you can understand how this drug works. So its drug actually is very commonly known as DAC inhibitor, histone deacetylase. So you understand it actually have an enormous impact on gene regulations and developmental stage. It will have huge impact. But think about during adult stage, it's a medicine. It nicely works, and it's probably one of the best medicine that can help to correct the epilepsy. So think about those perspective. A drug at developmental stage can cause problem, autism. During adult stage, it's perfectly fine, probably. I'm not perfectly fine. Of course, every drug has a side effect, but not going to cause this problem, right? So this is the environmental point of view. I'll just give you another example, which my lab recently have shown it. This is a small molecule called Azad diode. This is one of the molecule that actually found in the neem seed. I mean, our neem seed. And this molecule, when you give in utero, I mean, the same pregnant animal, just two dose we gave. And when you look at the newborn pups, their behavior, we could think about there's a series of developmental disabilities in those newborn pups. And of course, you can see the number of dendritic spines in these injected drugs actually increased. So we extensively characterized and still continuing working, but this, if you look at the bottom line of this, some of the sometimes we consider some of the what we call herbal medicine or something will have detrimental consequences. We all know neem. We sometimes all we eat in Bengali, in the morning, in the lunch, sometimes in summertime. We take the neem leaves, dried it, and we sometimes eat so many way we take it with haldi, we do all sorts of things. I think a little bit is enough, and no problem. But maybe some level at the developmental stage, the pregnant mother could have devastating consequences. Just to give a warning sign, but doesn't mean that we should not use it. We are actually looking at this is a developmental impact, but we are looking up this drug in adult stage and trying to looking for a therapy for some neurodegenerative disorders. So don't think this always drug will be bad in adult stage. It might be bad in developmental, but may work in adult stage. So we are desperately trying for this molecule for therapy for some neurodegenerative disorders. Well, so that's what my I just give you some flavor what my drug does. And quickly, I have another 2 slides probably. I'm quickly turning to different directions. So what I told you, there are some genetic abnormalities that could lead to some developmental disorders, have serious mental consequences, mental problem like autism. I also give you example where some of the environmental factor. I gave you example of sodium valproate. Some of the environmental factors, if it goes in utero, particularly the pregnancy stage, it can end up with developmental issues like autism or some other autism spectrum disorder. I have not pointed out there could be several such environmental factors. I can give you another example actually. The bisphenol A, which actually, you saw, although we all drink about that bottled water, and you sometimes see when they goes in high temperature, the truck with some 38, 39, 40 degree temperature. So this plastic actually leaches some of the molecules called bisphenol A. And bisphenol A have been shown to cause autistic-like problem if it goes in utero. So therefore, there could be n number of such environmental factors like sodium valproate, bisphenol A, or many other molecules. Sometimes a lot of agricultural pesticides that we use in our agricultural and cultivations might cause problem. We all know actually, we don't know. Okay, so now I'm trying to go to a different stage. We talked about the childhood, early childhood. Think about some adolescent stage, or even in adult stage. Sometimes what happens is you have a problem, like you exposed to the environmental factors. The early childhood, you may not see any problem. Maybe up to class 9, 10, things are absolutely fine. The kids are doing absolutely fine, normal. But when child turn out to the teenage, little more than teenage, the adolescent boy or girl can show the problem. Doesn't mean that the problem actually happens during that adolescent phase. The problem probably already origins are there in the critical period. It happens probably in the mild stage. Mild problem happens in the early stage, but you see the output problem probably in the later. I hope I am able to convince. So there is some problem happens in early developmental stage. Critical period abnormality happens. Normal stage, on early developmental stage, you are absolutely fine. But when little bit stress comes, stress factor here probably parental pressure for education or many other ways. Pressure, stress, abuse, I put all those. When they come, they actually amplify. And child might land up with series of consequences. One of the problems will be schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is considered one of the most devastating disorder in humankind, where your thoughts and feelings. You understand your thoughts and feelings, which should be coordinated, no longer works together. And in Bengali, we say chinta and bhavna. That's what makes a person is human. And that's when sometimes they just called split brain. When they don't work together, it's a huge problem, and that's schizophrenia. And I wrote here, the people with schizophrenia have a greater risk of dying from suicide. And that's what probably we see in many times in society, in our educational institutes. So this happens. So you see, what I'm trying to say you is, problem happens in early stage. It's not visible, not understood. Maybe clearly, clinically, they are not show anything. Childs might be absolutely fine. But when they get a little bit stressed by various ways, they start exhibiting those problems and then end up with the full-fledged problem. Therefore, you understand, you could actually correct this. If you really have a better understanding, you could actually prevent those. When you understand, you sense somebody is your child is coming to show such kind of a beginning to show this problem, you could understand in early stage. Forget about stigma. You could take a doctor and you could totally prevent this scenario. There are some examples you often see in the newspaper. Well, so I'll just last slide. This stress, what I talk about is stress even in the early stage are very well known to even cause your learning and memory impairment, and also lead to anxiety and depression. So these are the leading cause of mental health issues. So if you are experiencing stress in early childhood, don't think that it will not go to that actually transfer to your adult stage. Even something mild impact in the early childhood, I mean mild effect can have a huge consequence when you become adult. So therefore, you might ask a question. So just first think about so the stress in even early childhood, even in adult stage or even adolescent stage, can lead to memory impairment. I hope that's clear. So and also anxiety and stress. So for anxiety and stress, I put some area so you can see here. So the prefrontal cortex, three area you can see. These are the stress sensitive brain area actually. So if your brain, not the, all area are responsible or responded to a stress. There are three specific areas that are actually responsive to stress. One is called prefrontal cortex. That's the area you have your advanced higher education, higher learning. A lot of I mean, your idea comes from this activity of this part of the brain. Your thinking, higher thinking. See the amygdala, there is emotional memory, and this is the hippocampus area where the initial memories are formed. So these three area of the brain are the very stress sensitive, and if they are affected, you can understand the consequence, right? So if the hippocampus is affected, of course you can think about we have a problem of learning. That's our memory impairment. If your amygdala is getting affected, then you can think about you might get anxiety and depression. So like this. And in each and every case, as you see that branchings are like if you think about chronic stress on memory, you see hippocampal neuron or prefrontal cortex, you see that number of spines are reduced. What I explained earlier. On the other hand, amygdala it is actually increased. There are some classical actually work done by some of the Bengali scientists, Sumanta Chatterjee, who actually was NCBS, now back to he's actually in Kolkata now in TCGA Crest. He's the director. He's heading that place. It's amazing work he has done during his time. If somebody interested can go through this work. So I'll probably stop here. So in summary, what I am trying to convey you the message that I actually talked about the part of our brain, I mean stage of our brain. I told you we have all crossed that stage, the developmental stage where we have a strong critical period, and that's the time window when our brain was extremely sensitive to environmental factors. So if you can take care of that part, the take home message is this: when we are upbringing our child, or even you think about when you are a teacher, I mean teacher in the either in the daycare, teacher in the primary school, or even in the college, because you are dealing with in the college dealing with the student or the adolescent child, you must think about this critical period window, and then you think about how to harness, how to take the advantage of it. It can be your kid, it can be your child, it can be your student, whatever way you can think, and by this way probably you can make a much smarter child. At the same way, same thing you can think about, we could reorganize a person who does crime. You could change his brain architecture and make a maybe better human beings. Not going to be easy job, maybe challenging, because when we become adult, the plasticity of our brain actually is dramatically reduced. Therefore, changing our brain architecture is not going to be easy. But there are works going on where you could be able to reactivate critical period in our brain, in adult brain. So that's some of the emerging area. If somebody wanted to continue higher studies, can think about all those promising areas. Well, so that's what it is. So I have a video. Can I? Is it? I'll just show you. Just take a relax, and I hope it will work. See. Otherwise, I'll end it. Are you there, all you guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please continue.
I will just see whether it works. If it don't work, it's fine. Otherwise, it's probably not good. Yeah, I think it's going to work. And see whether you can see you can hear the sound.
Yes, sir, we
Yes.
can.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the time I can take a 1 minute break.
Stress is an important part of healthy development. When experiencing stress, the stress response system is activated. The body and brain go on alert. There's an adrenaline rush, increased heart rate, and an increase in stress hormone levels. When the stress is relieved after a short time, or a young child receives support from caring adults, the stress response winds down and the body quickly returns to normal. In severe situations, such as ongoing abuse and neglect, where there is no caring adult to act as a buffer against the stress response stays activated. Even when there is no apparent physical harm, the extended absence of response from adults can activate the stress response system. Constant activation of the stress response overloads developing systems, with serious, lifelong consequences for the child. This is known as toxic stress. Over time, this results in a stress response system set permanently on high alert. In the areas of the brain dedicated to learning and reasoning, the neural connections that comprise brain architecture are weaker and fewer in number. Science shows that the prolonged activation of stress hormones at early childhood can actually reduce neural connections in these important areas of the brain at just the time when they should be growing new ones. Toxic stress can be avoided if we ensure that the environments in which children grow and develop are nurturing, stable, and engaging.
Okay, so that's what ends. I think it stops. So I'm sure there could be a lot of questions. So I'm ready
Thank you
to.
very much, sir, for your engrossing talk. Definitely, we learned so many new things. Now it's a question session, and already Dr. Normota Ray has raised her hand. So over to Normota Ray for her question.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you for a very relevant and engaging lecture. Uh, what I wanted to ask to you is that it is, I've spoken to after having spoken to the parents of a lot of children who were born during the COVID time, say in 2020 or 2019, 2020, a lot of them exhibited speech delay. And so is that related to the fact that during the critical period of their brain development, they did not have much exposure to societal interaction, or uh, maybe just like the video that you showed right now, the
Yes.
environment was not suitable for them, so that they cannot speak uh, as fast as they were expected to. So this is one. And the other thing is, sir, you showed that there's one gene who's when it is knocked out, we get one syndrome, and when it is overexpressed, it expresses autism. So,
Right.
if you can elaborate a bit more on what is autism spectrum disorder exactly.
Okay. So let's come to your first questions. Yes, yeah, whatever you are pointing out, that could be one factor, but there could be n number of factors. Of course, at that time, people are not engaged with much, but think about even the virus infections. I am sure all of us probably exposed to the virus, and the virus could have done a lot of developmental impact. I think one of the major impact, I think all we know, all the COVID cases, whoever experiences, the last stage of COVID, when we are suffering, the fever is gone. One of the major impact that you see, you got lost your smell, right? So that tells that some of the sensory neurons are getting damaged. Of course, COVID directly attacked maybe through the nose, so therefore some of the neurons sensory neurons from there may be damaged. This first direct hit, but that itself might cause problem, inside the brain. So therefore, there could be a lot of other factors. It's not that it's already many of the paper even you can think about. So there are a lot of virus could directly have impact. What I'm talking about, and of course you are mentioning some of the indirect effects. Yes, there could be n number of such things. Yes. Actually, you mentioned the right point. The post-COVID children are having is a lot of issues what we have not actually seen before that. I'm sure many of you probably will agree about that. The second point that you talked about, yes, that's a very interesting point that actually my lab is working last maybe 15 years. So we have actually a knockout mice. We have actually knockout mice for this that gene that, and so we explored actually how its loss, the loss of that gene actually causes Angelman syndrome. When I talked about the patient of Angelman syndrome, typically, shows some extensive smiling and laughter is sometimes a problem. But when you think about overdose means no overexpression. It's sometimes some genetic anomalies that could lead to duplications, triplication. It's often called copy number variation, if you are familiar about that. Or sometimes there is even the single point mutation of that gene, which is actually ligase, it's an enzyme. The point mutation actually leads to overactivation of that enzyme, and that itself can cause autism. So in case of autism, your point was what is it? It's actually a deficit, of social communication. So sometimes, childs may not interact properly with the parents or even in the other kids nearby, their own fellow mates. But sometimes they are super intelligent. Sometimes some part of the brains are so extensively reorganized. I'll say they're super intelligent if I say simply. See, some of our most talented guys, even think about Ramanujan. Sometimes people say Archimedes. Even there are many of the super talented guys are told that they are autistic. So of course, they have a problem. Even if sometimes in staying in IIT, sometimes we see actually, we sometimes think that all the super talented students comes in the IIT setup, right? Most brilliant students, and when we see them, they are actually sometimes out of the world. This is sometimes totally isolated from the society. So what you can think from them? Yeah, sometimes they are super intelligent, but they are not able to mix up with the people, even their fellow mates. It's a continuously we are watching that. We cannot tell them they are autistic, but our society is going towards kind of directions, and probably it looks normal to us. But we are continuously watching those guys. We are sometimes in the institute. No, we sometimes force them to mix up together, but what happens? I hope I am able to answer your questions, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wanted to know, it's a spectrum. Autism is a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Not all people may show not all children may show the same, the symptoms to the same extent. They may be different. So,
Yes,
sir,
yes. I got your point. So what I am talking
yeah,
about in case of EB3A, that overactivation, it's a
right.
autism. It's a very, because it's a single point mutation, single gene knockout or single gene defect. It actually gives us phenomena, I think, quite clear. But when you talk about autism spectrum disorder, yes, it's a series of problem. And if you look at the causative agent, it's also is a series of causative agent. Yes, yes, there is spectrum of disorder, and sometimes it's a tough time for any even doctor to really pinpoint this is this. So that's why it's called autism spectrum disorder. But yeah, nowadays I think with the advancement of the understanding, we are coming with a lot of genetic tools to point it out. Like if you look at Angelman syndrome, which is also a autism spectrum disorder. But now we can clearly do a genetic test and tell, yes, this is Angelman.
Right.
Even for Down syndrome, it's also considered autism spectrum disorder, but you can have a clear test for that. So there are many, like you think about Rett syndrome, there is a genetic test. Of course,
Sir, sorry for the interruption.
Thank
There
you,
is
sir.
another question from
yes.
Dr. Rakhi Chakraborty. Sir, can schizophrenia be inherited?
Uh, well, I can answer, right? So yeah, I'll just give you one example. There are a study where a monozygotic twin, one of them shows schizophrenic, one is perfectly normal. I think that's give you answer. It's primarily no. It's primarily, I'll say, is the hormonal factors. There are genes associated factor has been shown, but the involvement of genes with schizophrenia, I think should be very minimal. If you look at the monogenetic studies, so it's probably the environment. I hope you got the answer.
Dr. Arunima Doctor has raised her hand. Over to Dr. Arunima Doctor for her question.
Thank you, sir. I was just writing it. Thank you, sir, for this engaging talk. One thing I was trying to correlate that OCPD and anorexia nervosa are both of them related to that critical period deprivation of certain kinds of hormones or genetic deletions or maybe mutations, etc.
I think hormonal problem is there, but anorexia, I'm not sure what is happening. But OCD, yes, there are some kind of informations, hormonal problem also in OCD. There is a overactivations of a particular neural circuit like dopaminergic pathway of which is originated from ventral tegmental area. So if you look at the dopaminergic system, there are two kind of pathways. One is actually linked to Parkinson's disease. That's not the path. There is another pathway is called reward circuitry, which originates
Yes.
from ventral tegmental area to goes to nucleus accumbens and then prefrontal cortex. So that's the pathway are actually very much affected in OCD. But there are, you said some hormone. Yes, there are some hormone has been shown. I guess I cannot remember. I don't know whether it's prolactin or some hormone is. I mean, have been shown. Some, not one. I think more than one hormone has been shown. But
Sir,
anorexia case, I'm not.
we heard that in mothers who, uh, because of postpartum excessive secretion of prolactin, in
Right, right.
mothers there is a tendency towards going towards OCD in
Yes,
mothers because of
right.
extreme secretion of prolactin. And sir, another thing is, what about ADHD? Because nowadays children, not only children but adults are also affected by this ADHD.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's become a normal, I think, for us now.
Are we more prone to environmental cues, or everybody amongst us had certain critical period deficiencies, so that now in these tough times we are moving towards showing towards more of this ADHD symptoms, or what?
I
This is
think
a
one of the
genuine
things you can,
question.
yeah, of course, I think the adverse environment, I think is a issue. I think over the time things are changing also. I think, of course, there are multiple factors could be, but that cannot be all in all. Yes, there could
Sir,
be.
Dr. Durba Bhattacharya has raised her hand. Over to Dr. Durba Bhattacharya. We have to give space for each and every uh, question. We have to give the regards to all of the
Sure, sure.
questions.
I am there. I am here, so no problem.
Sir, you had a very, it was a very informative and engaging talk. Thank you so much for giving us so much of information. I have a question, very personally as a teacher. I have seen that those students who are, very more, what I'd say, very active, very intelligent, as much they tend to suffer more from anxiety, and especially to these days, before exams, etc. They suffer from such anxiety. So
True, true.
does all of this, can this be said that they are like they have suffered at some critical level period problem?
It's a serious issue. Yeah, yeah. We are every day watching this. It's a stress. They have some issue in the early developmental stage, and now the stress actually amplified. So if they could not have this stress, parental stress or whatever stress we think, right now we are all thinking about parental stress. We can think about. If we can avoid that, many of them cannot be there. Most of them will be fine. I think we give too much of parental stress. If you think class 11, 12, we all imagine, right? How much stress a child should go. Child is going. It's amazing. Yes, this has to be avoided. Then I think things will be fine.
Dr. Narmata Ray has asked a question. She has asked us that you talked about memory and neuronal circuits. Can some problem during the critical development cause dementia and Alzheimer's disease?
Alzheimer's may not be, but certainly might be some link. I'll just give an example to Ramata. Look at the Down syndrome, which shows memory deficits in early childhood. But a Down syndrome patient can have early Alzheimer's disease because you know that the chromosome, whatever the trisomy 21, right? So trisomy 21 chromosome also has a gene for the Alzheimer's. So therefore, I think you got your answer, right? Yes, there could be.
Thank you
Any
so
other questions? We are welcoming questions from different participants. So any other questions, please feel free to ask, sir. because it's a very, very hot topic nowadays. It's from Obhik Chaudhuri. He's asking, does left-handed children become so due to different way of brain development?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't think it will have impact. We have a lot of left-handed children. We see, you see, Saurav Ganguly is left-handed, I guess. So I don't think might have impact, but I have no idea actually.
There is another very interesting question which was actually popping up in my mind. So Dr. Navnita Ghosh has raised her question. Sir, can a epigenetic modulation of germ cells can cause developmental disorders in embryo? Mine was also an
Yes.
epigenetic, but
Yes, epigenetic. Yes, epigenetic. See, whatever the stress or whatever stress I'm talking about in early life, they are probably doing this through epigenetic modification. I think that the gene that I am working on it, the EB3A, it's actually a imprinted gene. It's actually coming from the mother, not from the father, in the neuron. Yes, I think in short, I will say all the stress or whatever neglect, abuse you see in, early stage, they are ultimately doing some epigenetic changes. It can be methylation effect, it can be histone acetylation, or it can be other things. Ultimately, that bringing the change in gene expression pattern. Yes, it's epigenetic effect.
any other questions?
Even I'll say that some of the epigenetic effect even can be transmitted to the next generation. If you see some of the animal studies, people have shown
So in
some
this
of the
connection, may
epigenetic.
I ask a question, sir? Can
Sure.
we dream of dream rather a stress-free world? Because from the very point of taking birth to the ultimate going to the graveyard, every moment is filled up with stress, and stress
No,
in
but
different
you have to
multiple
think.
forms are nowadays cropping up. How can we get release of stress?
See, we have to understand stress is a part of our life, and stress actually teach us. You have to understand stress is important to teach us certain things. So only you have to think if the stress got cross certain threshold. So you see the video, it shows toxic stress. Stress is actually helping us. See, when you are under stress, your adrenaline is secreted and actually try to fight for the stress. But if it cross certain level, when the stress cycle actually break up, your normal homeostasis broke up, then only is problem. So the chronic stress, sometimes called unpredictable sudden stress or the toxic stress. So these are the problem. Otherwise, don't think. Some minor short acute stress is fine and you can actually learn from the stress. So I'll say stress is a defense mechanism, your body, our body. It helps to learn. But when it crosses certain threshold, then it's a problem.
Sir, I have a very short question. Within
Sure,
your
sure.
slides, you asked that within 2 to 10 years, it's critical period of age of learning. So
Yes.
nowadays, the kids are being bombarded with so much of information from mobile, from social media, from everywhere. So can that maybe modulate the child to learn multiple languages? Because in mobile you can see videos and talk shows and all sorts of interactive videos, they come in multiple languages, but can that be a inducer, or can that be a detrimental factor for learning so many things at a time? Because in schools, when a child goes, 6 years is the cardinal age for learning the other language, that is English language, or say any other language. At the
Yes,
age
yes.
of 10 or 11, some vernacular languages like Sanskrit or Hindi are being taught.
Right,
So
right, right.
definitely the child pedagogy and the learning process, don't you feel they are colliding at the same time with this
Absolutely,
information
absolutely, and
floods?
absolutely. I think there are a lot of discussion even going on in different level. I think these things might be, it can be a little bit early. Whatever I think your age or our age, what age we learn that Sanskrit or Hindi, these things could be little early. It cannot be so early, but it could be little early. So I think those changes might be coming up. We would see is going to come up. But whatever you pointed out, yes, some of them are abused. I think it has to be very controlled. If you look at way child's using mobile phones, sometimes in play school or in some kind of standard tools, sometimes people use these are necessary. The student has to learn, and advanced technology they have to go through it. But sometimes it's become under control. I think that's the things probably we need to. Otherwise, we cannot escape that technological advancement, right? It has to be minimized so that adverse effect can be minimized. But whatever you
There is
said,
another question from Ornisha Chaudhary. Sir, can we generate epsilon waves?
what is that? Epsilon can
Over
can
to Ornisha Chaudhary for explaining the term.
please explain? We are probably backdated. Yeah,
Uh,
please.
Good afternoon. Good
Yeah.
evening, sir. Thank you for your very nice and inspiring lecture. Sir, there are different types of waves which can modulate our way of thinking, like epsilon, alpha, various waves. Can we move our mind state to that wave so that we can remain calm and cool even in some adverse or anxious situation? My question is related to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really familiar about these waves forms, but so very difficult to really answer your questions. But I can give you some generalized way of thinking. Like if you try to do a lot of yoga, lot of different kind of yoga, which actually can impact can impact actually our brain functioning in neural circuit formation. Even I'll just give you example. So your wave, whatever although I don't have understanding, might work in those fashions. I'll just give you one example. You can go and search. There are at some point there was an extensive discussion about Dalai Lama. So Dalai Lama's brain was actually studied in MIT because those monk goes through series of training, and therefore their brain architecture might be because you can think about how monk behaves and how they are things. So therefore people have actually studied their brain architecture by using fMRI. And there could, although there are a lot of debate, but you see those findings, the people predict
Hmm.
something from there. Yes, I think some kind of exercise or some kind of meditation
Next,
Meditation
can have
exercises.
next
impact.
Yeah.
question is in
Yes, sir.
conjunction with that, sir, from Dr. Tondrima Shil. Sir,
Thank you,
could
sir. Thank you.
meditation help in neuronal plasticity? I
Yes.
think she has given the next
Yes, I think it does. It does. There are some study already, but lot of contradictions are there.
question.
It does. It does probably impact your neural plasticity if it happens in early childhood.
We are just at time, right time to
Yes.
wrap up. But before we wrap up this session, I'd like to convey my heartiest best wishes to Sir for his overwhelming support to us and his groundbreaking research in the field of neuronal circuit plasticity and mental disorders. Definitely, we got enlightened with his very lucrative talk, and side by side, we got glimpse of newer avenues of neuronal abnormalities and brain disorders that will help us to formulate our future course of action in due time. Thank you very much, sir, for your engrossing talk and giving so politely and patiently all our different bunches of questions. We were rather bombarding you with our questions, but definitely I thank you all. And on behalf of the organizing committee, definitely we look forward to getting more lucrative talks from you in your future. Thanks a lot.
Sure,
Thanks
sure,
for
sure.
your
No issues,
precious
no problem.
presence.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir.
So we can leave now, right?
Yeah, you can leave, sir. There is a small notice for the information for all the participants.
Okay, okay.
Tomorrow there will be your poster session, so get prepared and definitely it's we pray best of luck for you for your tomorrow's venture. Thanks a lot for your patient hearing and your gracious present. We are taking a leave. Let's call it a day.
Thank you, sir.